Welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of Common Sense. How is everybody doing today? Real quick, want to give a shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to check out the party, even though you missed the live party. That is the best part. So make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and you will never, ever miss another Indian Jesus live party ever again. Before we begin, let's say thank you to mysickshirt.com, the sponsor of the stream. Whatever your persuasion, they've got something for you. And of course, as you saw, it is the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch. Only at mysickshirt.com. All right. How is everybody doing? So we are going to get a little bit personal today. This is a conversation that I don't think happens enough. I think it's a conversation that's really important, and we're going to focus it around content creation, because that is what me and my esteemed guest, who I will introduce in a moment, are. But I think this is something that expands to just life in general, social interactions, work, all of that kind of stuff. But before we go any further, let's bring in our guest, Dr. Evil Genius. Welcome to the party. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I've had a pretty eventful day, man. It's been pretty fucking eventful.
Word up. So for the people who don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself and let them know where you can find you?
Yeah, I'm one of the moderators in this chat, and I've known Lutch for over a year. Over a year, yeah. And we have had like different debates. He used to co-host the Filthy Casual MMA watch party. So for all of you guys that like MMA, we still do those every Saturday that there is a UFC event, including all of those really expensive pay-per-views. Oh man, I know Lutch is kind of like, $80. You're not feeling it?
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, it hurt. And now it feels like they're doing pay-per-views every 2 weeks now.
They're just milking it. Milking it. But and so yes, you are also the host of your own podcast. Just drop the link in the chat, as well as your gaming channel, which is tagged in the description. Please definitely go check it out. So I'm actually just gonna kind of throw it to you, because I think you have a better idea of where we want to go with this conversation. So Dr. Evil Genius, please take it away.
So, me and Lutch have had a lot of conversations over the past year, and, it's a lot of it centers on content creation and how difficult it is. So if anybody knows about TSP and what we do over there, we had a video go like ridiculously viral for the size of our channel. We recently just hit the 1,000 subscriber mark, and we needed a lot of help to get there. I know content creators who are super successful. One has like 143,000 subscribers. Another one who's a good friend of mine has 1,760,000 plus subscribers. So, they have large followings, and occasionally some of their people will come and, come over and support what we're doing. But it took us a long time to get to 1,000 subscribers, which is a big thing, because that's when they allow you to get monetized, as long as you have at least 4,000 hours of watch time. But for a small channel, which was around the size of TIJ, we ended up having a video get, at this point, north of 255,000 views, which we did not see coming. And so it really calls into question how difficult it is as a content creator, because it's 2023. We remember watching people who had 6,000, 10,000. We watch people like Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast used to be trying to upload to the same community COD channel that I was to try to make it big. That mofo's got over 120 million subscribers now, right?
Yep.
So it's like, it's almost like trying to buy a lottery ticket to be seen on YouTube. And content creation, when you go into it, it sounds like the world's greatest thing ever. But then when you actually get into it, you find out that it's a lot more difficult than it seems.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, just the once you're even at, the place that, we're kind of that small, but like, we've hit that milestone of getting to the 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours. Before that, you don't really even exist on YouTube. And then, there's kind of like there's levels, then you kind of like 1K, and then like it doesn't really matter to like maybe there's a little bit more clout or not clout, but reputation when you hit like 5K. 10K is a big one. 100K is probably the biggest one because I don't think that many people get to a million. So that's what kind of how that's measured. But when you start out, you're going at sometimes at best days and days and days without a single subscriber. And the I think the worst part of it is that once stuff does start get rolling, then it's like it's so easy to look towards the next thing, and it's so hard to prevent yourself from doing that and appreciating where you are.
Yeah. I would say that, as you were like kind of recounting that, I thought about that feeling of going days and days without getting any subscribers. I think that when I started YouTube, I had the thought process that I have a lot of opinions and a lot of them I have to keep to myself because they're not particularly popular. So,
Yup.
when you live with people, like with me, I live with my ladies, my partners. The only people that you really have as a sounding board are those people. And so if you live in a world where you don't think that critical thinking is high on the priority list of the people around you, and that's all you have, you live in your head, you live in your brain, you're constantly analyzing things. It can be very, very frustrating to have all of these views and then you can't even really feel like you can let them out. So, I think I started on YouTube thinking, I'm going to do these gameplay commentaries, let the COD gameplay play in the background.
Call of Duty for you
because who the fuck wants to look at my face? But I just want them to hear my voice.
Yeah.
Right. And so the way that I looked at it was, I'm just going to have this gameplay. I'm going to talk about things I want to talk about. And then at least I get my opinions out there. And for a while, that sated me. I didn't feel the need to rant as much to people in my personal sphere. Because it can get pretty annoying. Like, how they say, you must be a hit at parties.
Parties, yep.
Yep. And no, I'm not. So it helped me kind of calm down because I was able to get out some of my thoughts. So it was almost like a video diary that other people can watch. But after a while, I think it's easy to get poisoned by looking around. So I give you an example that you would definitely understand. Me and you met through the lead attorney. Great.
Shout out to
great.
TLA.
Great channel, right? Great YouTuber. He talked about when he had 3,000 subscribers, he felt like nobody was watching and he wanted to give up. And I remember the first comment I ever left on his channel, I was just like, don't give up because you have a lot to offer the platform. And I know that he read it because he left like one of those, content creator love things on it.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, he was starting to get bigger. He had, I found him through O'Shea Duke Jackson. So, he started to like really take off and, he was really trying to help men in, divorce court and things like that. And then he started doing these videos about how he learned from other content creators from playing around. And then he went from 3,000 to 10,000, 25,000, 50,000, 100,000. And then he would do these videos. It's like, I just reached 25,000 subscribers. Guess how much money I make with 25,000 subscribers? He was like, drum roll, please. It was like $10,000 a month. And I was just like,
what?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm like,
hey, really quick, we
month.
got Mr. Zig in the building. Welcome, Mr. Zig. We are having a conversation with Dr. Evil Genius. Welcome to the party.
So then you look at him and he's like, well, this guy is a 20-year divorce attorney who has like the top level certifications in all of these important legal things. Of course, people are going to subscribe to him. But then you go in there and you're so enraptured by the level of knowledge, the charisma, and the whole nine, and you're like, shit, I want to drop this dude a super chat, and I've got less money than him, right? So I think that watching those videos where he talked about how much he made with 10,000 subscribers was like 5,000 a month, and 25,000 subscribers was like 10,000 a month, and then with 100,000, I think he said he was making like $50,000 a month. That's when I think that the difficulty of being a content creator really kicks in, because if you were looking at it from, he always tell everybody, you should start a YouTube channel. You should start a YouTube channel. You can make this money.
That's why I did it.
Yeah, right. But the weird thing is like, we don't have, like, I have specialized knowledge, but it's all over YouTube, right? It's all over YouTube. My specialized knowledge.
We got Dan Jensen in the building. Welcome to the party.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, Dan? Dan is a huge supporter of my platform as well. So shout out to you, my good sir. Yeah, you just kind of get, you start seeing the possible dollar signs. It's like, well, I have, like, me as a personal trainer, I have a lot of specialized knowledge, but I mean, how many fucking fitness channels are there out there, right? So I start thinking about what can I bring to the platform that I don't see everywhere. And I'm like, well, you have everybody either way over there to the left or way over there to the right, but I don't really agree with playing the team game. I don't want to wear, the Democrats' crypt colors. I don't want to wear the Republicans' Bloods colors. I'm not a gang member, and I don't care to be. I just want to have, like, real analysis of real life situations that people can have these conversations in a respectful way where we get more understanding, even if we cannot agree. And I'm like, well, there's not a whole lot of that. And I know that there are people craving it. I'm going to go that route. I'm not going to pander to anybody. I know that some of the things that I'm going to sell, I know that the things that I'm going to say are going to piss off people on both sides of the aisle. But if we can actually have the conversation, maybe I can learn something. Maybe you can learn something. And then we create a community of people that can, very easily tolerate each other.
Absolutely. Let's welcome Fernandez T to the party. Welcome. How are you doing? So more of a yellow and black guy myself. Love it. Welcome to the party. We are just having a little conversation about public discourse. So, speaking of which, with all of that, why don't we back up a little bit? Because I think this is, taking it a little bit away from content creation, and just about life and about, social interaction, as you were saying. What, you said that, it was like kind of like a video diary. What got you to want to do that in the first place?
I mean, nobody wants to hear my goddamn opinions.
I heard that. I said, shit, me too.
And so I figure if I put it up on YouTube, then people can listen or not. You can click off the video whenever you want to. You can click on the video whenever you want to. And at least it got out there, and maybe a conversation will be started, perhaps. I have some funny stories to tell. I have some heartfelt stories to tell, some tragic stories to tell, things that I think other people will be able to identify with, perhaps. And then people might not feel like they're alone in what they're going through or what they believe. Or maybe I will find out that I'm not the only one when somebody comments, and then I find like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one that's bugging here.
And that's kind of where it's very similar, but that's more of it started about me finding out, like, is there anybody out there who's willing to listen to me? Is there anybody out there? I just, like, in my personal life, I've always been, I mean, y'all see me. I've been, not the easiest to get along with. I'm very opinionated. And I try to be rational and stuff, but I guess I'm a brash personality, and a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people just want, to go along to get along. And it started young. I was always in, like, the wrong crowd. I remember, like, getting in trouble in, like, elementary school. My parents would always say, like, "Oh, why do you have to hang around with the wrong crowd?" And it's like, well, because normal people don't pay any attention to me. And so, then as time goes on, then I'm getting a little bit older, and then social media comes around. So now there is space to say more without having someone sit there and directly listen. And I would get into good debates and stuff, but there was also a lot of vitriol. But then Trump came around and split the entire world apart. And so now the people who didn't like what I had to say just completely blocked me. People who were willing to entertain me would entertain me and then block me, and then the rest of it just became an echo chamber. And then that's not what I want at all. Dan, I do have I don't know, are they there yet? Can you join memberships? I do have memberships, but Patreon is coming. But for right now, Discord is the way. Join the Discord. Link in the description. It is free. But yeah, once I broke free from the matrix of Facebook, I didn't actually feel any better about anything because I still wasn't getting to express myself.
Right.
Fernando says, I hung around the bad people as a teenager. It cost me, but I'm an oldie now. Just enjoying this show. There you go. That's how to do it. I feel exactly the same way. Hey, we got David Banner in the building. Welcome to the party. Says, I'm so glad that I grew up in a time when social media was just starting to be a thing. I couldn't imagine growing up now when you have 20 apps competing to fry your brain. Absolutely.
When I was a kid growing up, I was very risk averse because of the extreme abuse that I suffered in my childhood. So I would look at things and try to see what would the likely outcome be if I did these things and hung out with those people. I look at the way that they was living, and I just didn't see the benefit. I didn't see, like, the outcome long term. So I was very risk averse, which, cost me in some situations, but kept me alive.
What do you mean?
It cost me in situations because it made it very difficult for me to connect to other people on a social level.
Mm-hmm.
They say that in childhood, that is your time to make all your mistakes. However, it doesn't really work that way when the people who are naturally supposed to take care of you have made multiple attempts to end your life, either directly or indirectly.
Mm-hmm.
So all you see is danger everywhere. So you really don't have the space or the safety net as a child to rely on your parents to provide you room to make mistakes. So from very young, I knew that there was no room for error for me. So I had to think very, very long term, and I had to think about all my impulses and what the likely outcome would be if I acted on those impulses.
And I mean, I from the little that I do know about your past, I never experienced anything that severe, but I definitely can relate to that. My mom, it was that's the way that I thought of my mom, is just like, it was, okay, how am I getting in trouble today? What can I do to get out of the way? What can I do to just make it back to bed without getting hit or getting in trouble? And that idea of the safety net of parents. Even though my parents are still married, been married for I don't even know how long. I think like at least probably not 50. I probably remember if we had a 50-year anniversary party, but somewhere around there, 40 something years. They're still together. They seem to be as normal of a couple as any other. And still, despite the fact that they we never had to worry about money, they were together, there were all of this stuff and so many other things, there's still room for that safety net to fail. And
Right.
that's scary, because
Right.
with all the privileges in the world, it won't help you.
And the thing is, getting to talk to people, and this is one of the little positive things about the internet, is that it brings together a guy who went through extreme child abuse, different racial background, different economic situation. And then I can meet a guy that had both of his parents, first or second generation American, different kinds of pressures, different kinds of dangers, different kinds of reaction to stimuli, different kinds of conclusions drawn to the same book of facts. And that's really what the conversation is about in the end, I believe. Especially as, content creators, realizing that, maybe we might have something that people can resonate with. I think that is a really valuable thing to understand that. And I think that one of the reasons why I wanted to create TSP, my co-host, been a staunch Republican, but there was just some things that he couldn't abide by. He didn't think that what happened to George Floyd, he didn't think that any part of that was justified. He didn't think that was a good thing. He didn't think that Kyle Rittenhouse should be in a state that he doesn't live in with a weapon, acting like he's a SWAT officer, regardless of whether you think of, it was self-defense or whether, it was okay for him to pull the trigger. To my Republican co-host, it didn't make sense for a 17-year-old to be acting as if he's a SWAT officer, doing riot crowd control. That didn't make sense to him. And so what happens when everybody expects you to play on that team? Well, you're a Republican. You're supposed to be with the Kyle Rittenhouses and the Zimmermans and the Derek Chauvins. You're supposed to support those guys, but it's like, nah. Life taught me a little bit different. I have a little bit of a different view. Why can't we express these things and still respect the person that disagrees with us? Like, why can't we do that?
So who would you respect more? Somebody that came to the same conclusion as you because of tribalism, or somebody who disagrees with you based on a different line of thinking that is, you don't agree with it, but they have their reasoning?
Definitely the latter. It's not even close.
Yeah, and because I feel very differently about Rittenhouse, and we don't need to get into all that. But the idea being that I can look at Rittenhouse and have an opinion based on that situation. I can look at Zimmerman and see that that's a different situation, and judge it based on the situation, not based on the external pressures of what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
And it's really weird how easily people get dragged into that mentality of tribalism.
Yeah.
Quick, David Banner says, weird politics surround Rittenhouse. It's very clear that people support him for more nefarious reasons than just 2A. Yeah, I mean, I completely think he was innocent, but that is 100% true. There are people who are just looking to score points. And same with Dr. Evil. I would much rather you disagree because you actually watched the trial and you, based on what you saw, you think that happened.
Yeah, I would say that I'm undecided on whether or not he should have been found guilty of murder. I'm undecided. But what I will say is, from a common sense approach, if you just removed his name from it, an underage person goes into a different state they don't live in, had to go through back channels to procure a weapon because they would not be allowed to purchase that weapon themselves. And then they went to go act in a professional capacity that they are not qualified to act in. When we say that person is a fool, I would say that person is a fool. I just thought that
I would even agree with that.
Yeah, and that's really where I was coming at it from. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, nothing about this makes sense. So that was really where I was coming from with that. But a lot of people, you know, they automatically want to start calling you names and then assuming who you voted for and assuming that you believe in all these other things. And it's like, can we just have the conversation, please?
That's all we want. Let's welcome M.A. Misanthropic Altruist to the party. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are just having a conversation about public discourse, how to talk to other people and how to deal with other people who can't talk to you. Dan says
its effect on content creation.
Exactly. So Dan says, that's what I like about both your channels. We can disagree and still talk to each other. 100%.
Yeah, I'll tell you
that's
something.
What it's all about.
We were doing the Filthy Casual MMA watch party, and we had the Georgian versus the Russian. So, of course, the war in Ukraine came up, and Dan Jensen, like, tried to rip me a new one. And I was just like, listen, give me some proof of what you're talking about, and, you know, it might steer my view. But even though I disagreed with him vehemently, he still drops by the channel. He still supports the channel. You know, he's like an honorary team member. There are going to be things that we are absolutely not going to agree on.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that it doesn't come from a bad place because he's a European guy. I'm some ignorant ninja from New York City, right? And he still supports, right? So some people will look at that, and this is why this conversation is so important, Lutch. And I told you the conversation would take on its own shape, right? If you look at Dan Jensen's politics, right, you would assume that you'd have a lot of people assuming that he's a supremacist, this or that or the third, right? But me, I'm smarter than that. See, I know that Dan Jensen has whatever politics that he has, but you know how I know he's not a racist? Because he supports my fucking platform. Have you seen this skin color yet? Right? Me, like, my skin color and your skin color ain't that different, right?
Not much. Not much.
And this guy shows up for us every single time. So it's like, there's more nuance to just, well, if you disagree with me, you're a racist, you're a sexist, you massage knees. Like, there's so much more going on than simply just, well, I disagree with you here. Well, why don't you ask me why I believe what I believe and what I've experienced and or witnessed that would move me in that direction? If you ask some fucking questions, you would get some fucking answers.
Right. And I think Mr. Zig got a bar here that confidence in ignorance is at an all-time high. And that is the reason for that is because of what we're talking about, is that people have not only lost the ability to engage with each other in a healthy manner, but that is encouraged. There's, you look on whatever platform you want to talk about, and what sells, what gets you views, what gets you clicks, what gets you money is drama, is calling somebody out, is doing all that. And, I'm not going to say that I'm completely innocent of, like, trying to capture on that stuff. But at least, that's the nature of the platform. But at least channels like ours are here to give some actionable value to your life that you can actually take outside of this. And like, oh, well, that was not just, oh, that was fun. Now let's go do something else. It's like, yeah, you can do something else, but also now you're thinking about shit. And it's meant to enrich the rest of your life. So when it comes specifically to those the conversations themselves, what do you find is difficult in, like, what part of that is difficult for you?
I think the most difficulty that I've had in public discourse is that I'm a person that pays a lot of attention to the details, what's being said in between the lines. And I really want to truly put myself in the position of the person making the statement. I try to imagine what they've seen or experienced or what they've been told, and then I try to add it to what they're saying. And usually, what that does is it makes it easier for me to stay out of the triggered lane and stay more in the uh, empath slash analyst brain.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I give that grace to the person I'm talking to, I don't get that back. What I get is sign language. I get, for those that don't know what that is, that's an acronym: shame, insults, guilt, and the need
And the
to be right.
need to be right.
Shout out to the late Kevin Samuels. We miss him dearly.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of conjecture. I get a lot of accusatory statements. And the only thing that I'm really looking for is a conversation so that you can understand me better. But then I have people telling me what I think and feel. That's probably one of the most frustrating parts of trying to reason with people.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I think it's for me it's I feel like I try to be, again, that same thing, charitable, empathetic, and I just don't get that back. But I'll go, and I'm not saying you don't do this, but I'll go a step further, and I want to have a meta conversations with those people when or after we have a disagreement, because I genuinely care about not doing the things wrong that I seem to continue to do wrong, which is why there's nobody from my personal life who watches this shit. There's nobody from my personal life who cares about what I have to say. And it's not I know it's not because I don't have shit to say. I know it's because of how we have spoken in the past. And the problem is that I may recognize that, but without being able to be on the other side of experiencing it and being pointed out to me, I don't know. And so, people will get mad, and the most frequent iteration of this would be that I'd be going through some shit or another. I was a mess. I mean, you think I'm a mess now? I was a mess before 25, and a big reason why I didn't do well with many ladies. I did my thing. Don't get me wrong, but in between that, I had a lot of female friends, and I would reach out to them when I was, not in the best headspace. And that caused them to see me as that guy, and I didn't understand that was the case. So aside from dating and all of that, because they are just friends and women be women, what would happen is I'm very contemplative, and I may not have the absolute best self-awareness, but I absolutely am constantly looking inside. And so I'd be expressing, I feel this way. And I've already thought about why do I feel this way, and how can I stop, and all of this other stuff before I brought it to you. Mm-hmm. So now you're saying, like, well, did you try step one?
Oh,
yeah,
my
actually,
God.
I did try step one. And the reason that didn't work was because of XYZ. Oh, okay. Well, did you try step two? And by the time you get to step three, and I still say, yeah, actually, I did try that, and it's still not working. Then they get offended. And now I come to you as a friend to help me out with my mental state. And now the conversation has turned into me cradling your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work?
Well, I'll give you an example, Lutch.
Real quick, let's grab some of these comments here.
Oh, yeah.
Dan says people are used to echo chambers, so when they experience people without other views, it goes wrong. Exactly. They're forgetting that we can all learn from others' views and opinions. 100% agreed.
You can learn from them and still disagree with them, but come away having learned more.
100%. MA says the tide is turning. From all sectors and corners, things are shifting. In a good way or in a bad way? That's the question.
I think in a good way.
I
think that things are so extreme that I think more people are starting to crave and move back towards the middle.
I agree. I just think the pendulum swings and it comes back, but I think we're just in that last little bit of it going wild, and then we're gonna move.
Please don't let us swing back to slavery. Sorry, I don't want to live in that world.
I mean, me neither. Shit. I mean, I might be next.
Yeah, because you're dark enough.
Yep. Oh yeah. And you know, with the tattoos, they'll be like, "Hey, he's a liberal. He's a woman. Let's just, you know."
Oh shit.
Brenda says haters are gonna hate. They use race to hate, but Americans are inherently not racist due to our culture. We are free AF here, and POC have the same rights as everyone. In my humble opinion, I would agree with you.
I would disagree partially. I disagree partially, but you know, again, you know, the reason why I don't get upset at stuff like that is because I understand that his experiences and his observations, you know, that's the lesson in life he's learned, you know, and I think that that's pretty cool. I wanted to touch on a point that you made about, like, when you talk about, did you think about this? Did you think about that? You know, there was a situation that happened when you came the last time you came onto my platform, and it was an example of exactly what you were saying, right? We were talking about the reparations issue, right? And this is how a lot of conversations can go south real fast, right? You asked me like some of the more frustrating things about public discourse for me. I choose my words very, very carefully because I know how they can be misconstrued in negative ways. So I always try to hedge against the possible negative reaction to something that A, I did not say, or B, an incomplete understanding of what I said. So I choose my words very, very carefully when and how I say them. So we were talking about that particular issue. The first thing that I said was I'm on the fence about it. And that part didn't register with you.
Right.
What registered was the thing that puts me over the edge towards, and at that point, like the bull saw red, and it went off the rails, right?
Right. Real quick, before we get into the weeds with that, let's say hello to Scuba-Doo. Welcome. Is this Mr. Bigglesworth? Is that what you're talking about? He is right here. He is chilling. Welcome to the party. And we are here with Dr. Evil Genius just talking about public discourse and content creation.
I like Fernandez's comment here. I like that one. That's
yeah,
good.
It said, so he says, yeah, man, I ain't telling anyone about someone else's opinion. I'm sure I got homies that would disagree. We would beat him up still. But good one. So yeah, we were on stream, and you said you were on the fence about reparations, and
and so, you know, for me, like, you know, you brought up a lot of stuff, and I was just like, he didn't even hear the first sentence I said, because the triggering word was in favor of, or the triggering phrase was in favor of. And so, like, you brought up a whole bunch of contraindications, and it's like, did he not hear the first thing that I said? Obviously not, because the first thing I said is I'm on the fence, meaning that there are compelling reasons why not, and there are compelling reasons for, which have me torn on the issue. But then there was the tiebreaker. It wasn't like, you better give us reparations because Black Power and fuck all you cracker honky. Like, it wasn't like that. It was just like, you know, kind of, you know, but here's what puts me over the edge. And so a lot of times, especially if you have very strong opinions, and even me, I try to keep it as rational. I try to be as rational as possible. We're human beings, man. We're going to be triggered by stuff. I know that right-wingers like to make fun of people being triggered. Right-wingers are triggered all the time. They're just triggered by different things.
Yep, absolutely.
So, you know, we're human beings. We're going to have things that are going to touch the nerve when it comes to fight or flight. You know, when people are talking about stuff that you don't agree with, you're not going to stay in rest and digest. That's just not how that's just not how human neurology works. You know, people, when they're told they're wrong, they actually feel physical pain. That is a neurological response. It's just part of being human.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
So then how, once you are able to recognize that something's going wrong, what would you advise, let's say you're talking to some young kid, what would you advise that they do to like start figuring out how to even broach the topic? Because they see something's wrong, but they don't even know what it is. They don't even know they just know, hey, people are not picking up what I'm putting down.
Right. Well, I'll tell you that one of the things that has worked very, very well for me is, and obviously not everybody is like this, but I was groomed, I was conditioned to be an empath through abuse. And so I have this ability to put myself in the shoes of other people. And I also live by a mantra that's something to the effect of, I don't think that anybody that I come into contact with today woke up today and said, you know what? I'm going to be an evil piece of shit today. I don't think anybody's doing that. And so I have to realize that everybody in their mind does have the best intentions. And so when things don't kind of go right, I have to figure out where with them it went wrong. And in order to do that, I have to appeal to reason. So if somebody is going to, be, rude to me, I want to try to diffuse that by not being rude to them and then trying to level with them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, because most people are being told what they can buy. They're being told what they should think and feel by the left or the right. But they're not really in a place where they can just kind of relax and be in themselves and then meditate in themselves. So they know that anytime they say an opinion, somebody's going to attack them. So they're already ready to attack. So since I know that people are like that, and I also understand it's not my responsibility to manage somebody else's emotions, but I do it anyway because I believe that if I can bring one person closer to reason, then that person may turn around and bring somebody else a little bit closer to reason just because somebody extended to them an olive branch that they're probably not getting in other places.
Yeah. And I mean, that's definitely, as you say, a very empathetic view. And I don't know that I'm quite there, because I definitely agree that no one wakes up deciding that they're going to be evil, because everybody thinks they're the hero of their own story. But the fact is, people do evil, and I would argue some people are. That's tricky. That's a whole philosophical.
It's a very, very small portion
Yeah,
of the
I'm not gonna.
population that actually are evil. Good
Yeah,
people do bad things every day.
There you go. And so when but even people who are thinking that they're not evil, but based on the small steps that they've taken from because I would say, okay, and nobody is born evil. I mean, you have psychopaths and stuff, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, but that's such it's a
Right.
neurological miswiring that it needs to be
right. So we're talking
diagnosed
about
by a doctor, and
Exactly.
it's a very tiny portion of the population.
Right. So we're talking about people who are of what's the word? Of sound mind and choose to do things that either directly hurt other people or go against what is best for society, or so on and so forth. And the problem is that it's the foot in the door policy. You do one thing that's not that bad, and now it's a little bit easier to do the next thing that's kind of bad. And before you know it, you're Bill Gates trying to get everybody to eat crickets. Like, I accept the fact that
trying to get all the Africans to stop reproducing.
Yeah. I mean, telling them condoms are bad because I mean, again, all the conversation. But the idea being that the fact is, we have to address things that not only do we disagree with, because there's things that we disagree with that don't have to do with evil or anything.
Mm-hmm.
that's just like, oh, do you like Marvel? I think it's great, and you don't think it's great. That's a different kind of disagreement. But when it comes to how should we roll out this policy, how should we run the country in general, then the people who are preaching different ideas than you, number one, they may very well be doing so in what we would consider an evil manner. Again, even if you and I have different positions, we stand behind those positions with integrity. Whereas we know that a lot of people don't.
Right.
And so that I think is for me personally, where I feel like something needs to be done because people aren't willing to do anything.
You said something really interesting about standing behind your point with integrity. And this kind of leads back to one of the very many difficulties of trying to be a content creator, especially in the social commentary space. When you're talking about backing up your opinions with integrity, people very seldomly allow you to absorb new information and then let that information shift your viewpoint. Then they say, oh, you're just being wishy-washy and all of this. And it's like, isn't this the fucking point? If I thought that 3 times 8 was 27, and then somebody said, no, that's 20, that's 24. I'm supposed to continue to believe it's 27?
It seems like that is what they expect. And of course, if you ask them that question, they would say, oh, of course not. But why then, when it comes to so many of these issues that we talk about, people dig their heels in? And then, going back to the
that's the one that got me. That's the one that got me.
When it comes back to these interpersonal relationships, and like, okay, for myself, I've learned that, okay, you gotta you gotta put things in a way that, like, I have the responsibility, because I understand that if I'm going to somebody with help or for help, then they're likely not going to have the answers, and they're likely just going to go down the same line of thinking that I already went down. So all I'm going to get out of this is the opportunity to vent. To vent. So when I can do that, then it's much better, because nobody is trying to tell me what to do, and then I'm saying, well, actually, that's not really something to fit. And then they hear it as like, why the hell would I do that, you fucking idiot? It's that's the frustrating part, is that that whole notion that is an acceptable thing to do, that's not socially something that we would shame, that, hey, somebody came to you for help, and now you're making it about yourself. That,
1 second,
in my opinion, is.
Can you star Mr. Zig's comment? 81% of tweets. Can you just star that?
I already put that one up. Yeah.
Just put a star next to that.
Yep.
And we'll bring that back, because I want to address that directly, because that was actually part of what I wanted to the concept is what I. Oh, and here's another thing. And this is definitely going to trigger you, because I know this really pisses you off. Whenever you try to make a comparison of any kind of analogy, if the analogy is not the exact same thing, people just start going on and on about the semantics. When you are talking on a different level, we're talking about the principles of the matter. Well, this wasn't exactly like this. I give you an example. So my co-host Captain on his hockey channel, the Locker Room, he compared forcing somebody to wear a pride jersey before a hockey game. And he compared it to forcing people in the crowd to wear a cross for some Christianity night. And the all the people that are, pro, Rainbow Coalition / Alphabet Soup, the whole Alphabet Soup crowd was like, how, that's such a bad analogy of, trying to compare a pride night with a Christian night. And it's like, you missed the whole point. And I want to keep from assuming that you missed the point on purpose, because people do it so consistently. That it's like, understand what we're talking about. We're talking about the principle of compulsory, the word I'm looking for is endorsement. Compulsory celebration of somebody else's whatever.
Right.
Oh, but somebody's religion is not the same because this person can't choose their sexuality and this person, blah, blah. Like, have you seen a Christian? Like, they killed a bunch of people during the Crusades because they didn't want to convert.
Yep. Yeah, we were just covering that.
People think that if they drank some rat poison and some Kool-Aid and wore some purple Nikes, that they were going to hop on the back of Hale-Bop's Comet.
Yeah, man. I mean, the beliefs out there.
These people think that their fucking religious beliefs are as immutable as these people's sexuality, but that wasn't the point, right? Like, I hate it when people want to misrepresent the point. And it's like, you're getting all into the weeds of this bullshit. Here's the principle. The principle is nobody should be compelled to celebrate anybody's anything. Yep. That's the point.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I remember you used to do the MMA live streams. And like, you say, oh, so-and-so kind of looks like this. No, they don't. What do you look?
His nose is a little bit bigger. Like, but I used to, that's still a pet peeve of mine, but I definitely I'd heard it, earlier in my life, but I wasn't really, I heard a George Carlin bit about, I think it was George Carlin, but he's like, think about how stupid the average person is. Now recognize that half of all people are dumber than that. It's just insane. So let's get some of these comments here. Yeah, 81% definitely didn't need retweeting. Or didn't need tweeting at all. Fernandez says criminals wake up thinking of evil, speaking from experience, but that was a phase thing. Also, a lot of people on social media wake up with evil in their hearts. Not sure it's not a majority, but it's a lot. So I would, go ahead. So I would agree with you, Fernandez. The specific point was that they don't think that they're being evil. They think it's justified. They may understand that it is immoral. They understand that it's illegal, but there is a justification. I'm not evil. I'm doing wrong, but there's always a but.
I totally agree with you. Like, one of the things that always kind of got me when you look at the prison hierarchy, the social hierarchy, right? You know who's at the bottom of the hierarchy. I don't need to say who's at the bottom of the hierarchy, right?
Women.
I'm talking about in prison. I'm talking about in prison, right? And we're not talking about the snitches. We're talking about the other bottom of the barrel. We can't, right? And it's really crazy, right? Like, it's really crazy because you have a guy that, murdered 10 people who thinks that he is morally superior to somebody else in the prison because they committed a different crime than him. So they think that it's justified that, exactly, right? They think that it's justified that they did this and that because it was for this cause or this reason. So, in their mind, like you said, you put it better than me. Everybody's a hero in their own story. And I just think that's what it came to my mind. I think that when Fernandez talks about, criminals wake up thinking of evil, we are assigning a moral value to their thoughts because of what is socially acceptable by the masses. But in their world, the things that they're thinking of is survival, and survival is neither inherently evil or virtuous. When you're in that prison environment and you get that shank and somebody tells you to go do this or we're going to do this to you, yes, shanking somebody in prison is an evil act, but in prison, it's kill or be killed.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It's a different thing.
So MA here is asking us to define semantics. So I have a definition pulled up, but let's just go and give our lexical definitions and how we're using it. Would you like to go first, or
Yeah. So what we're talking about semantics is when somebody gets caught up in the particular word that's being used, or a word is being used in the wrong context, but the listener understands what the person that's speaking is actually saying, but then derails the conversation because they don't want to stay on topic. So they want to get into the weeds about shit that does not matter, that they do understand what is being said, and they purposely act daft so that they can derail it because they don't want to face what the person is saying.
I mean,
I use that word in that particular context.
Spot on. Yeah, I would also say that, much like, I mean, I wouldn't call semantics a buzzword, but people are starting to use it that way. And people will accuse you of being pedantic or arguing semantics when you are actually, when the words that you're arguing over are not inconsequential and do change the meaning of what you're talking about. So let's just real quick give the Google definition: the branch of linguistics and logic concerned with meaning. There are a number of branches and sub-branches of semantics, including formal semantics, which studies the logical aspects of meaning, such as sense, reference, implication, and logical form. Lexical semantics, which studies word meanings and word relations, and conceptual semantics, which studies cognitive structure and meaning. So it's basically just the words that you use and how you use them. A couple more here. Dan,
no, but I know misanthropic. He was telling a joke, but the thing is, like, dude, that's a good ass fucking question. So I'm gonna answer it.
Yeah, you definitely want to. Speaking of semantics, we want to know exactly what we mean, and 100% agree with you, Dan. I mean, people are just out here trying to, again, win points by saying the right thing. Then Fernandez says, it's in your face. I grew up in Hollywood. It's the in your face that I hate. I grew up in Hollywood and went to the first LGBTQ high school back when it was tame. Now it's out of control. I bet it is. What could that even be like?
Can I give an example,
please,
of when people are not really listening? They're listening to respond. They're not listening to understand. So I'm on my platform. I made a video about Justin Roiland. You guys know him as the voiceover actor that voices not only Rick but also Morty. Okay. He had a false DV complaint against him, and the prosecutors recently found out that it was false, and they immediately dropped all the charges. And I did a whole video on that on my platform. And toward the end of it, and this is one of the things I found that was really funny at the end of this article that kind of irritated me, is that on an article where it was proven that an article that was outlining the fact that the woman lied about being a DV victim, they still put if you're a victim of DV, call this number. And I got annoyed because it's like, even on an article where the accusation was false, you're still, oh my God. Well, how about we get a number for people who've been falsely accused, right? And then
that would make a little more sense.
Yeah. And then I'm like, one of the things that I noticed as a sidebar is that we already know who that was for, because no one cares if a man is a victim of DV. No one cares, right? And I told you I choose my words very carefully, right? I was very clear. Society does not care about male DV victims, and I know that for a fact. Nobody cares, or close to nobody cares, right? So I got a comment on that video that I'm going to read.
Ooh, all right.
Okay. All right. This Dr. Evil guy is just a blatant misogynist. apparently I massage knees. And then he misquotes me by saying, if you're a woman of domestic violence, nobody gives a fuck, end quote. It's not a critical analysis of Justin Rowland. He spells Justin Roiland's name improperly. That's just someone who hates women. So my response was, you couldn't even listen accurately, but going to determine my views on women. You can't be serious. I said, quote, if you're a male victim of domestic violence, no one gives a fuck, end quote. You went off on some shaming expedition and was completely wrong. That is one of my pet peeves when it comes to having public discussion where somebody needs you. Somebody needs you to be on the wrong side of history while they prance around on the right side of history.
People are so caught up in that. And
I do hate my first wife because she's a
I did not know you had a first wife. Did not know that.
You know, the first lady, you know, Mrs. Evil.
Oh. I assumed saying
because there's a first wife and there's a second wife. Yes, they're both present tense for those scoring at home, right?
He's got two.
Apparently, I have a disdain for my first lady because she's a marathon runner and she does have like tight quads that kind of go where the muscle kind of inserts into the knee, and so I massage her knees on a somewhat regular basis. And then she was like, hey, you know, can you show me some of that woman hate? Because my knees feel so sore. Can you please massage my knees? Then you'll see me on my platform. Like I put it underneath my title. Yeah, I'm a massager of knees.
Crazy. So earlier, David had said evil is close to my definition, but it differs. And now saying I hate that too. They couldn't disagree with Dr. Evil. They had to try and dunk all over him. So, David, would you
wrong too?
Yeah,
would you wrong?
Would you consider that part of semantics, or
Doggo needs a treat? Doggo needs a treat. Doggo needs a treat.
Could you let me do my thing? It didn't even pop you up yet.
Like I gotta recognize. Doggo needs a treat.
Sponsor of the stream in the building, Dan Jensen. As you know, every single super chat comes with a treat for Jesus Cat, aka Morty. Oh, yay. Thank you so much, Dan. Very, very, very much appreciated.
Did you just call him Jesus Cat?
That's No Freedom's name for him. And yes, we did get Seabass in the Discord. And we got him in the video chat 2 days in a row. So if that's not an advertisement, I don't know what is. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, I mean real quick, we had a couple from Mr. Zig said Sneeko fumbled the bag so bad, and it showed his success was accidental, and he was clueless. I'm curious on your thoughts on this one.
I disagree strongly.
I do as well. I do as well. But
so I would, you know, the channel is complicated because obviously you do reviews of their videos. Right after all of this stuff blew up, they released a interview that they did with him. And I think that what is complicated was trying to find out if he was really about that red pill life or if he was just a regurgitator. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know anything about Sneeko until his content was being played at a Senate hearing last year. I didn't really know anything about him. And so when you hear him talk about his experiences going back to the 5th grade, that it resonated with me, what his experiences were. You understood that his understanding of the red pill is not regurgitated. The problem with him is that he got fame at a very young age. And so it kind of swept him up with the current a little bit. And I think what killed him, which really made him start sounding like an idiot, is the mass infamy. And this is, can you bring up the comment that I asked you to start earlier, please? Because this ties in very, very well.
The 81% I unstarted because we talked about it already.
Did you start?
I got that. I did start, but we talked. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Okay. 81% of tweets didn't need tweeting. And this is, I'm going to bring this together so you guys understand why I'm bringing this together. I don't think that the human brain was designed to hear the opinions of literally everybody in the world.
Hell no.
We weren't designed for that.
Hell no.
And as much as I want people to be heard, most people would be healthier if they were heard by less people. And so the reason for that is when the fame is good, it still does psychological damage. But the real destroyer is when the infamy comes. You see, he was riding high, getting super chats, making money, over 1 million subscribers. Everybody loves him, right? But then when he became public feminist enemy number 2, and then they are playing his content at a Senate hearing, and now the U.S. government and politicians, you're on their radar. And they're going to use you for votes. It's not that they necessarily disagree with him on much of anything, but they know who the American consumer is and who is the linchpin of our consumer debt-riddled society, and that's women. So you're really not allowed to be talking about anything that isn't complementary of gynocentrism. Right. And so when you go away from that, you put a big ass target on your back. And I think that when he really started to unravel is when you started to get a lot of the naysayers. And I think that that's one of the things that is really important as a content creator. I don't want to keep going on, but I really want you to chime in on this part. We just got a video that got 255,000 plus views. Do you know what our like to dislike ratio is on that video, Cap? I'm
gonna guess.
TIJ?
I'm gonna guess probably mid 60%.
Our like to dislike ratio is 49-1 on this video.
The dislike ratio is 49-1.
No, the like to dislike ratio.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Is 49-1. We got 98% positive reactions on this video. And you know that it's not a small sample size because we got almost 10,000 likes on the video. Right?
Absolutely.
Now, what do you think we were more likely to focus on? All of the positive comments or the few negative ones?
The few negative ones.
Exactly. So when you look at how like we were responding more vigorously toward the people sending us hate, when Cap was basically just saying something reasonable like, get off the internet, get your shit together, and be your own man.
Welcome to the internet.
Right?
Yep.
So think about the little 2% on our tiny channel and how it affected us. And then magnify that by 1,000 or worse. That's what Sneeko has been going through for more than a year. Mm-hmm. So everybody wants to say, oh, he's an idiot and he's this and he's that and he got lost here and that. When you constantly get a lot of negative energy thrown your way, it turns rational people into irrational people. And I think that that is really where he started to get all in this whole matrix thing, is when he started to get a lot more hate. And he's too young to have so many people in the world showing him all that negative energy. You can also make the case that he is too young to have all those people showing him all that positive energy. But we were not designed for all of this. And I think that you're witnessing somebody crack under the pressure.
Yeah, I agree. But I actually, Sneeko definitely fumbled the bag, but I don't think it, and I agree with everything that you said, But I
In too
think,
deep. Yep.
I think as somebody who was following Sneeko pretty closely before he got into live streaming. I remember when the 1 minute podcast came out. Like, I already was a fan of his, video essays. I mean, I
I didn't
wasn't
know
there
that
when
was
he was.
him.
Yeah, I didn't know him when he was like, doing the haircut video, and I've never watched like gaming streams or anything like that. But I found him, pretty early on, and he was very level-headed. And I saw, that
How
once
many subs did he have?
I have no idea. I wasn't paying attention to stuff like that at the
Okay.
time. But I saw that when he when we started doing lives, and even from the time he was doing the 1 minute podcast, you could see the seeds of who Sneeko is now. You could see it there. And I think, if it didn't hit the way it did, then he might have let it go, or he might not have played or leaned as hard into it. But I see a lot of myself in Sneeko. Because as somebody who was following, not just Tim Pool and just like that area of politics pretty closely.
Another skinny content creator. Yes.
There you go.
Another skinny Asian content creator.
I mean, he's skinny now. He lost some weight, but he was chunky before. Anyway, so that Senate hearing, I don't really know what it was about. But they, it was just about, like, in general, like right-wing extremism and stuff like that. And so, like, Sneeko was just was just part of that compilation. It was just a compilation that they were playing, and like they put Timcast in there and Tim Pool, and he was literally just reading a headline, and they put it in there. And so, it's theater, it's politics. That's what it is. Nick Fuentes was already banned, but he didn't get any worse because of it. Timcast has only been growing. The reason that set him over the edge was because this was recently after Tristan Tate, after the Tates were like, "Oh, we're going down. You got to take the baton," and he put so much pressure on himself. You're talking
about the latest meltdown. That's what you're talking about.
I mean, yes, but I see it all as one continuous thing, because from the time that he was, really at the peak on YouTube, to now, there was that, then there was the ban, and all of that from the ban to now, I see as one period. You know what I mean? And so,
because I go back to the ban. Mm-hmm. I go back to just before the ban, when, the feminists were like really lobbying hard to get his channel off of YouTube specifically, and then the whole Senate hearing thing. And then the bullshit taken down of his channel. I think that was really when he started to go off the deep end about the Matrix and all this other stuff. And I think it was because he felt personally attacked. He felt like he was being ganged up on. There was a lot of mob stuff. So it's like me against the world. And now he's going to come at you from a place of defensiveness.
Right.
And now you're not going to get a rational response from him at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so David Banner was just saying Sneeko got lost in the sauce, and then a cosign from the who you just red pill manosphere influencer. So he didn't need to consider that he was wrong anymore, or that he could be wrong. Very, very interesting.
No, I think that he was on the defensive the entire time. I think that he had a lot of people telling him that he was wrong, and he got, somebody that was powerful in the space, but they were all targets. Like, even when he started aligning himself with the Tates were already targets. They were the public feminist enemy number one. That's why Sneeko was number two.
Yeah, right.
Sneeko wasn't like the most hated simply because of the Tates. And so it was kind of like it looked like he was being accepted into this group of refined men. And so, he kind of felt like he was, being supported from somewhere. Then he's like, well, now I'm going to play on this team since everybody's against us. So now he finds himself with the Tates and the frauds in Florida. And then it's like, now you're like,
yep.
And then the thing is, you can't go against those guys, because then who's going to be in your corner at that point?
Exactly.
It's kind of like when these guys go to prison. It's like, well, you got to go click up with the black people. Now, you might think that you're an honorary white guy and you did everything right, but you end up in jail for whatever reason, you better go click up with those black guys because those are the only guys that are going to defend you. That means that you got to take on the opinions of those guys, whether you agree with them or not, because if not, you got to go face the larger groups that are out there in the yard. And I think that's what happened to Sneeko. They're like, listen, these are the only guys that are going to back me up on this. Everybody's against me. I better toe the line.
Yeah. But the bottom line was that I see a lot of myself in him. And I was talking I don't remember where I was saying this, but
hopefully get that 1 million subscriber channel like he did.
Yeah, hopefully. But there, the idea of there being no handbook. There's no handbook to being a content creator. There's no handbook from just being a person, and now like you're just out there. Like to the viewer, like I'm a content creator now, and I'm telling you, when I didn't pay attention to subscriber counts, like I would notice, like, oh wow, I might be scrolling through the page to go to the comments, and I see, oh wow, they got like 1 million subscribers. Oh god, they got they got 3 numbers before the K. That's as much. And so the perception is just that you're supposed to be on right away. You're supposed to be good already. Right. And there's a very, very popular video from Roberto Blake, who has a channel just about, how to start and grow a YouTube channel that's called 100 Crappy Videos. And basically just point being that as much as you learn, as much as you research, there's no way to actually get good at YouTube without being bad at YouTube first. And so bringing it back to why I relate to him, this is very similar to how, how to interact, not just how to do the presentation part, not just how to learn how to edit, but then there's the aspect of the community, how to deal with the community, and how to especially for somebody like myself who doesn't have a much of a network at all outside of you guys. It's just, again, there's no handbook, so it's very difficult to know what is the wrong move until you've already made it. And I'll give you a perfect example, that you pointed out to me. So the other day, I'm just, I'm looking at the analytics, and I'm like, thinking about the channel, and I'm looking forward, and I'm doing this, and doing that, and I'm like, all right, we're trending in a good direction. Okay, I see where we are with the election. This is probably the slowest time, so I could, let's rally the troops so that by the time the summer comes around, we're gonna really get this going. We're gonna really have a thing. And so I put out a message, and I tagged everybody. I was like, hey, let's do this. Let's make sure we do that. In my head, that's what it was. And what was your reaction to that?
Yeah, when I read the first sentence, I was just like, he might have just destroyed his channel. And this is one of the things that's so difficult about content creation, because, do you think that you have if I asked you right now, would you say that you have the most based fan base?
The most based fan base? In what sense? Like the most,
and like when you think about the people that really fucks with you, that are in your comments, that are in your Discord, right? Would you think like, yo, these dudes, like, they ride with me, they got my back, like, yeah.
Yes, but
right?
to an extent. And that was something that I definitely had to learn, because before I would have just said, yeah, of course. I would say, absolutely, this is my team. They not only watch my show, they not only listen to the words that I say. Nobody in my real life listens to anything that I say.
Exactly.
Not only are they listening to what I say, they come here to listen. Then they've hit the subscribe button. Now they're hitting the like button. Now I'm monetized, and Dan doesn't come through without dropping something. So I'm like, yeah, this is my team. And of course, I appreciate all of that. But the difficult part of, again, talking about dynamics and relationship dynamics and public discourse is that I always wanted a community, but I didn't realize that there is an added responsibility when it goes from, hey, we're friends, to, hey, I am doing this thing that I want you to be part of. And it doesn't have to be that different on a day-to-day basis in our interactions, but the dynamic is very different. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. But from my vantage point, I read the title, we got some, stagnation in the channel, and I was just like, oh no. And the thing is that it's so, again, even if you think you have the most based, like the people that ride for you, even if you think you have those, right? People are still pretty fucking fickle. And I'm talking to you, viewer. Look within yourself. If you see somebody that seems like they're desperate, your mind's going to check out. If you're in the man's Discord and he's like, yo, I'm not really happy with the stagnation here, you're going to want to play a tiny violin for this motherfucker. You're going to be like, what? I know you're not fucking crying and complaining and all of this and that. And they're going to think less of you, almost as like you're asking for the YouTube version of communism, right? Like they're going to be like,
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, if you don't word it just right, and you don't do it just right, you can have public opinion shift on you like that.
Yeah.
And that's hard to deal with as a content creator.
And not only I just had no idea. I didn't know that it would come off like that. And I think that even if I, like posted a short video, that that the rally the troops type of mentality probably would have came across better. But
maybe
it just didn't. But hey, we got indie film in the building. Scooby snack time. Yep, you heard it, Morty. Let's get up, earn it. Come on. There you go. Oh, eat it. Thank you. Welcome to the party, Indie Film. Me and Dr. Evil Genius just having a chill conversation about public discourse, dynamics, and content creation. Welcome.
Yep.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is it's difficult to know on what mistakes you've made until you've already made them. And so, I was talking to my mod. After I talked to you about it, I was talking to one of my mods and I was like, yo, did that come off as like rally the troops or like more like cringe? He's like, bro, that was cringe.
That just wasn't it.
and I mean, like, and then I was like, okay, should I like address it and be like, oh guys, that's not what I meant, but I did this. And then I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of exactly why my ex-girlfriend broke up with me. Because not only did I mess up, but then I tried to explain it, and then a whole nother block. And I was like, okay, you know what?
Sometimes you just say, hey, I fucked up.
And that's it.
Disregard, please. I fucked up.
I deleted the message, and I'm like, you know what? People show up. People do a lot for me. And my own insecurities about, a growing channel that's just not growing fast enough for me, even though I specifically made this channel in a way that I know is not going to grow as quickly as it could, because I want to build that community. And I it was just a momentary loss. But what Dr. Evil Genius is getting at is that it only takes somebody to see that, read that, check out, and then they're gone forever, and I may never see them again.
Yeah, and you never get to make the mea culpa. You never get to make things right. They're just gone because that's what it is. I mean, you know how many hundreds of thousands of channels? I think every second there's like 150 hours worth of footage being uploaded to YouTube or some insane number like that. They don't need to spend time with you. And that's another reason why we should always, as content creators, show gratitude. It is so important because people can be literally anywhere but watching me talk shit into my fucking camera in my office.
And so let me just take that opportunity to thank all of you guys, whether you are here right now, whether you're watching this tomorrow, whether you're watching this in 10 years. I very much appreciate it.
Yeah.
Real quick here, Mr.
We're not
Zig.
entitled to anybody's views, support, shares, super chats. It's sad, man. And I'm going to say this on my channel, but I'm going to say it right here now because some of the guys that are here are also, from my spot, right? Dan Jensen's a huge supporter of our platform. So shout out to him again. I always tell people, listen, we got 3 tiers on our Patreon. We got a $2, a $5, and $10 a month. You can get this with that. You can get this with this and this with that over there. And the crazy thing is that a lot of guys respond like, but I'm struggling financially. I really want to. And it's like, dude, That message is for if you want to. I don't want your fucking rent money. Like, I'm letting people know that if you want us to support the platform, because I put 5 figures worth of dollars that I earned into like all of this stuff, and if you want to and you can support. But then some people take that as like, wow, this is pressure. Like, I got to put money into this and I got to pay for this. And no, I'm happy that you're here hitting the goddamn like button. There's so many ways to support the platform that's free. Just do that and I'm good.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, I try to be, I don't want to, just kind of explain myself too much, but that was just a really good example of something that happens over and over and over and over in my life. And it's just like, okay. Now post hoc, now, Monday morning quarterback, I can see it. But like, where is the method to see that in the moment? Because even in the message, I was like, hey guys, I want to make it clear. I know, you don't owe me anything or whatever, but hey, if people are telling me that's how they interpreted it, that's how they interpreted it. And so going back to the idea of there being no handbook, it's just difficult. And that's just life itself. And now you're adding this new layer of dynamics in, and it really just makes things stressful. And so if any of you if any of you felt pressured, if you felt like I was, ungrateful, if you felt like I was anything, I apologize. I messed up. I fucked up. That's not the way that I meant it, but that doesn't matter. If I made you feel that way, I fucked up. And I want you to know 1000%. If you are here, I appreciate you. End of story. End of story. That's it. That's it. I really do appreciate you. And especially, Dan, with comments like this, just a matter of matching your channel and opinions with the right users. It will come if you don't give up. And with comments like this and people like you guys, I have no reason to at all. I have no reason to at all. And I really do appreciate it.
Yeah. And, I thought about the example of the frauds in Florida, right? I was quick with the unsubscribe, and it wasn't because I was being fickle. Is that they showed what their true colors are, but I'm gonna extend a little bit of grace their way to make a point. It's the principle, folks. Please don't get fucking pedantic and semantic on me. Okay, that was a joke. There was a situation where they went up, they did some things and said some things they should not have in reference to Abba and Preach, and that's not what I judged them on, because think about a lot of their content. They talk about masculine frame and maintaining it, right? They got into something where
way better than you ninjas. Way better than you ninjas.
I'm so glad you went there, because they had them on as a guest mainly because they wanted to kind of siphon off some of their fans over their way, and they made that very clear. Like they didn't care about Kevin Samuels like they claimed to. They just wanted to siphon off of, because they wanted to make money, and you can't hate them for that.
And that is why. I mean, you can't hate him for that, but that is exactly why he never mentioned their names.
Yeah, after that, because there's no loyalty there, and then you figure out who somebody is, and then again, the frauds in Florida for a reason. So imagine talking about masculine frame, right? And then somebody critiques some of the points that you made because they disagreed with it. And then you completely lose your masculine frames with
the frauds in Florida.
What did they say again?
It's on the tip of my tongue. Give it to me.
You just said it and you ruined it. Damn, you ruined the clip. Damn. I laid
right, tee it up again. Tee it up again. They're on our team. Tee it up again. No.
The turnover's already being created. There's been a change of possession. The official's about to hand the ball to the other team to inbound the ball. No, but they were being
taking L's, guys. It's a theme. Taking L's
today, man. The thing is, they could have said, you know what, they disagreed with what we did, and we, maybe they took something out of context. Maybe they didn't really just understand it.
Tito.
What did they do instead?
They're like,
We're better than you ninjas. We're better than you.
then,
Yeah, we
then,
are better than you niggas.
then, yeah. See, you can see the real world. You can see the real. Yeah.
And it's like, you know why I don't judge them for that, Lutch? Because as imperfect human beings, we all make mistakes. And so these are guys that are always talking about holding masculine frame, and in a moment of weakness, they ruin their reputation, completely ruin their reputation. Now, that is not what caused me to stop watching them. It's the things that they did and said after that.
Really?
It's the things they did and said after that.
I was under the impression that you had stopped watching them before me, because that was way after I stopped watching them.
Well, they actually insulted you like directly. So,
I mean, I was still watching them after that.
You better than me.
Or maybe I was a very, 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 very much weaker man than you. That absolutely it was the case, because
I don't know, but
quick story time. When I was first, I
didn't want to tell your story for you.
I've told the story before about how, in the beginning of lockdown, I matched with this girl on a dating app, and it was lockdown, so we both had nothing to do, and so we were just texting all day. I'm not a phone person. I don't like being on the phone. I like doing other stuff, and so like I'm not trying to sit and be on the phone, but texting, we could do that all day, whenever. So we're both out of work, so it's not weird that I'm like, we're both answering back and forth right away, even though we just met. So within a couple weeks, we did a lot of talking. But she was a mobile dog groomer. So very quickly, she was able to go back to work when I wasn't. And so now the dynamic changed. And so now I'm still sitting at home texting her just as much. And she's like, motherfucker, I'm busy. Leave me alone. And I couldn't pick up on that. I couldn't pick up on it. And so, eventually I ran that into the ground with we got into an argument, and then not an argument, but just a disagreement. And I wanted to be like, oh, well, okay, let's talk this out. And I want to explain it like this. And then after that, I was like, okay, I could have said something different. And that's when I sent her the wall of text, and that took her, pushed her over the edge. And I don't blame her. But that is what pushed me into, taking another actionable step. Like, this is happening to me. What is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Turns out I was a beta bitch. So I found the red pill space, frauds in Florida being one of the more entertaining sides of that. Maybe not as informative, but more entertaining. And so
I'm going to push back on that informative part in a minute.
All right. They offer consultations, of course. And so I paid 300 buckaroonies for a 1-hour Zoom call with Myron.
Damn, we could have fed your dog so much with that money.
My dog, he gets mad. Look, I need to feed my goddamn self. But I got a 30-minute phone call with Myron while there was some construction going on or something. He wasn't really listening to me. And all he just did was, I would love to say it because I love the word, but YouTube doesn't. So he called me an F slur. He's like, bro, you're just a little bit.
Let's talk about cigarettes in the UK.
And and I was, bro. I trusted them. I thought they had the answers. And so I was talking like, okay, I was, going on, things were going on with this girl, lockdown. I had this opportunity. I want to do, I had a podcast. I want to start that again. And immediately he goes, what kind of podcast would you have? You only had 3 girlfriends. You ever did like, I'm not doing it. It's a book podcast, bro. And so, he
wasn't even listening.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That's so masculine. Wow. Yeah, I definitely want to be just like you.
Mm-hmm. And the reason I did it is because I didn't know any better. And the theme of the night is that there is a pattern of me making mistakes that in hindsight are very, very obvious.
Right.
But at the time, it just
only
doesn't
know what you
occur.
know, and you don't know what you don't know.
And further than that, I am desperate. I am desperate for somebody to be able to articulate to me what it is that I'm missing, because I feel like I'm very what's the word? I feel like I'm very receptive to a lot of ideas. I feel like I'm quick to pick things up. If you explain it to me, I'm probably gonna get it. But we all have that huge blind spot with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, it has to do with the fact that I have confidence in the areas that I do have confidence. I know the things that I know. I can argue the things that I know. That people assume that is me 100% through, especially those who don't know me personally and who only see me on stream. And so, and it's just all this stuff that nobody tells you. Nobody tells you.
And that's part of our burden of performance as a man, right? Like, girls expect you to have like the longest dick. They don't know anything about male biology, right? And then they expect that you're supposed to hit their spot first time you ever touch them. You're supposed to just know what works for them, right? Like, there's so much, and that's why like I'm very easy on my annoyance with the younger generation of adults, because I understand that their level of stress is so much higher than it was for the average kid their age back 20 years ago, 40 years ago. Like, they have so much more pressure on them to just come out of the gate, like,
Ready to
have
go.
you seen the videos where they asked the girls, and you're talking about girls who are like 18, 19, 20, 21, how much should you're somebody that wants to date you, how much should they make? 100,000,
400,
120,000,
I guess
200,000, and it's like, wait, so I'm supposed to just burst out of my mom making $15,000 a month? Otherwise, I don't matter. Like, the shit that the younger kids have to deal with, man. Oh, and then you got to worry about the manual transmissions as well. Woo!
Exactly.
I don't want to be young. But anyway, I wanted to push back on the thing that you said about.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to say I
mine.
appreciate that, David. I appreciate you saying that. But yeah, so you were saying I don't think that frauds add any value. Not, I mean, there was value offered, but compared to anywhere else that you would look to go to get that information. But you
just made a comparison. But I'm going to tell you why I disagree with you, at least partially. And I'm going to disagree with you in the positive and in the extreme negative as well. Just follow me on this.
All right.
It's not that these guys don't have value. They would, at least back in 2021, they would have a daytime show where they actually brought in experts that know what they were talking about to help guys make better decisions in their lives. So they brought on attorneys, they brought on accountants, they brought on fitness personalities. Myron himself, he is a fitness personality. He does know what he's talking about. So, and I can tell you, if somebody who's been in the business over a decade, Myron does have most of what he says is accurate on the fitness stuff. However, the problem with them is not that they don't know what they're talking about. It's so much worse. And that's why I call them frauds, because the things that they say, the words that are coming out of their mouth are true, but they're not speaking truth to power. And they try to use the truth as a cudgel to bludgeon people with them, to elevate themselves above other people. And what that does is that it takes the message and makes it appear to be untrue because of who is saying it. So even though you're saying something that is true, you are doing a major disservice to the truth because you're the ones that's saying it. So all the guys who are in the red pill space, and I'm very, very firmly in the red pill space, we cannot make reasonable points because it sounds too much like you. So I have had my ability to get my thoughts across has now been made more difficult, because anything that I say that is true, that is remotely close to anything you say, I'm going to be invalidated because you're a fraud with negative energy oozing out of your pores. You said that you're here to help men. And look at the way that you treated somebody who paid you. This guy paid you. This guy paid you hundreds of dollars that he had to work hard for you to take 30 minutes to sit there insulting him.
No actionable advice at all.
You don't speak truth to power. You turn the truth into a lie. And that's why he is one of the most dangerous people in the red pill space, because he invalidates all of us.
That's a great point. I mean, I absolutely, you know, I when I started, I wanted to align myself with the red pill, that label. I thought that was me. You know, the manosphere, all that. But as soon as KS passed, it fell apart, because exactly what you're saying is that everything, all of these talking points, all of these actual conversations sounds so very similar to what they do, that to somebody who you know, would actually need or want to hear it, or need to hear it or want to learn about it, is you know, it's just gonna be like you trying to tell me that I need to believe in God to be a good person. It's just not gonna, it's just gonna go in one ear and out the other.
Right.
And but while Kevin was around, he was there speaking to women. He was doing good work. He was helping women, even though he wasn't even talking to men that much anymore. You know, he would do a men's show every once in a while, but it was predominantly the women. And even though a lot of us were watching to see how these women would get, you know.
Do you know who's almost as bad as Myron? Walter. And I'm gonna say
he's not as bad because he's not as smart.
And I would say why. Hey, Walter. We all know that you get no buns, that you don't pay for. Everybody knows this. We can look at you and we can tell you get no buns. The problem is when you lie, talking about you clapping 1,000 cheeks, like
1,000
at the time. He's probably claiming, 6,000
well,
now.
It's been, yeah.
Right?
I got another 5 in the last 2 years.
The thing is that if you would just represent yourself honestly, you could do a whole lot more positivity for young men, because there are more men who are awkward like you than there are, game players that get a whole bunch of cheeks like Tate.
Yeah.
There are more out there like you. And you don't have to be ashamed of being who you are. And you can say, listen, I made mistakes. I married a single mom. I was out here simping while talking that red pill stuff, or the whole nine. You can say, listen, you can level with people and say, I'm a human being just like you. I struggle talking to women just like you. We are going to go on this journey together to understand that dealing with women is difficult. It's not impossible. And then we can share information that can make us all effective in getting with either the number of women you want to be with or the quality of women that you want to be with. And he would have done so much more benefit to the red pill by saying, you know what? Not every chick is some floozy bimbo that wants to have 1,000 bodies and then marry somebody who's worth 9 figures. Not every chick is out here like this, not even in Miami. But instead, you wanted to try to puff yourself up to be more than who you are. And how they say real recognizes real? We don't know who the fuck you are. You don't even know who you are.
Facts, bars. He doesn't even know who he is. And so, yeah, Mr. Sig, the red pill, definitely, I think before it was...
he said Walt Chamberlain, I'm dead.
I actually don't know what preceded what, now. But there's definitely... there's definitely a lot of people who use it. I definitely use it in that context a lot. But I just think in the general conversation, at least online, the red pill community refers to the manosphere, whereas being red pilled, I think, is a more the terminology, that people would use for
right. So I just want to kind of set the table so that everybody understands what we're talking about, because I did a video about this way in the early phases of TSP. The red pill is simply understanding what is instead of what is being shown or sold to you. So if you remember in the Matrix, he had the Morpheus gave Neo a choice of 2 pills, the red one and the blue one. The blue one sends you right back to your cubicle. Everything seems real, feels real, the whole 9. But if you take this red pill, the whole fucking machine city is going to spit you out of this pod, and you're going to be flushed down like a freaking toilet somewhere. And then you're going to figure out that you have like a whole bunch of fucking shit plugged into your spine because you've been used as a battery by machines who won some massive world war over the humans. So it's really about understanding what truly is versus the bill of goods you've been sold. So you can be red-pilled you can be red-pilled by being working at a company, and you wear those company colors proudly, and you're proud to work for that company. And then you get injured, and then they treat you like they could not give a shit. You've been
make you feel some type of way. Yep. And that some type of way is what we call red pill rage.
Yeah.
And there's a very similar thing when it comes to atheism. If you've grown up with religion, same kind of thing. Yep. So the red pill is just as Dr. Evil said, there's many different contexts. Dating is, when people talk about it, the red pill community, that's usually what they mean. But yeah, it's just uncovering the truth that almost everything that you knew is based on lies. I mean, guys.
Or misrepresentation.
A goddamn nutrition triangle. What the fuck was that?
They said that bread and carbs were the foundation of any meal.
Yep.
Now, I mean, I could probably.
Do you know why?
Because of big bread. Big bread, big sugar.
Sugar. The sugar cartels. See, people were having a lot of heart problems, and they wanted to they actually commissioned people to do studies. They found that sugar was the problem. So what they did was like, hell no. This is where I'm making my money. We're going to blame it on fat. That's how we got the whole low fat craze.
Yep. Yeah. And of course, that's so healthy.
So in the context of women, when you're talking about red pill, and this is one of the things that if you actually listen, let me let you big up Trey Williams right quick. So he just came in here, and then I'll get to my point.
We'll do that. Welcome to the party. We got Trey in the building. Welcome to the party. We are talking about public discourse and what you didn't know about being a content creator. Trey says, I would blame that on the audience because a lot of them won't watch if they don't think you've already done the things you're talking about. Blame, what do you mean? Blame F&F for doing what they're doing? Because at the end of the day,
I mean, they told the lies. Like, how is that on the viewer?
Well, even if you were, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even go that far because there's a lot of shit I could say to just get you guys, but I'm not gonna do that because I don't believe it. There's a reason that my name is the Indian Jesus when I'm an atheist. There's a reason that when trolls come in, I let them do their thing, and I will address them, and I will talk on their playing field. There's a reason I do that, and it is my responsibility as the owner of this platform to do that. So I definitely don't think that we were just talking before, specifically about Sneeko, but in general about how they call it audience capture, where you feel like a slave to your audience. So that definitely happens. I do think that, there is an aspect of that. But I think it's a little bit more nuanced, but overall, I will agree with you, sir. Welcome to the party. Welcome. Dr. Evil, you were saying, sir.
Yeah. So when we're talking about the red pill in the context of dealing with women, and this goes back to what Sneeko said in his interview with It's Complicated. And I implore all of you to watch that because I know some of you have a negative view of his positions on red pill ideology. I think that you absolutely need to actually hear his words because, like I said, I didn't know who he was. I had a negative view of him from the bit that I saw. And the bit that I saw was him sitting at the F&F table doing that weird, I don't really know how to do it, so I'm just going to throw out the rock, holla. It's the Rockefeller Records. He was doing that weird fucking hand gesture that he got from the Tates. And I was just like, this motherfucker does not have any personality of his own. He has like, the dude has no persona of his own whatsoever. And that was my first impression of him, which is fairly recent. I didn't know who he was. Cap did. So in actually listening to him talk, I realized that he is a more rational person grounded in reality than he lets on. And one of the things that he kind of touched on is something that I believe. And well, first let me get to the whole the concept of red pill as it pertains to women. A lot of us were taught when we were very young that girls are perfect, they can do no wrong, sugar and spice and everything nice. If you treat them super nice, they're gonna love you forever. And basically, if you watched the Disney films like they did, you wanted to be the Prince Charming. Just like they tell you what to do in the movie. And the thing is, everybody talks about the Disney films in the context of the women. They don't talk about the Disney films and its context on the men and its effect on the men for as far as the narrative that we were sold since kids.
Facts.
So what am I actually saying? And I'm going to tell you that Sneaker agrees with me on this. Black pill guys, red pill guys, purple pill guys, MG toe, all of those guys. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go out on a limb and with this hot take. Every single one of those guys wishes they were blue pill when it comes to women. Every single one of them.
I'm going to sit on that for a second while I welcome Kelly Green to the party. Welcome. Kelly Green, my boy. What is good? Glad to have you.
He forgets that song Girls, Girls, Girls was just a Jay-Z song. And then he did a remix on it on the same album, which was the first Blueprint album.
Okay. But sorry, you were saying.
Yeah. So the thing is that when you look at all, the Passport Bros, and you look at all this stuff, right? These are guys who have already been frustrated. They've been heartbroken already. Like, guys don't deal with negative romantic interactions as well as women do. Like a lot of guys, they go through that heartbreak and they're like, listen, I'm going to give you nothing but hard dick and bubble gum. You ain't getting no commitment from me. I'm never going to let a woman get that close to me and break my heart again. Because that's how, we men, we're emotional cowards. Let's just call that what it is. We are afraid of our fucking emotions because we know that we're going to be judged if we emote even a little bit. And we can't let any of that stuff out. All of these guys out here, if they really, 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 if they're really honest with themselves, they wish that they were never red pilled through experience. People seem to forget that people don't go to red pill spaces because they're having a great time with women. You don't see any guys that's out there getting buns, running the red pill spaces. No. In fact, the guys that do get the buns, they look at the guys in the red pill spaces as a bunch of idiots because they don't recognize the difficulty that these guys are having. These guys are not just regurgitating red pill stuff. These guys are living through red pill rage, through experience.
Absolutely. And, the again, I can only draw the comparisons to other belief systems and same exact thing.
You see this name in your chat? Holy crap.
Hey, we got Sullivan Scorpion in the building. Welcome. Just talking about Red Pill, Manosphere, and MGTOW. Welcome to the party. Glad to see you. It's been a while. Glad to have you back. But yeah, you mentioned that you said that guys wish that we could go back to being blue pill because until, very recently, until lockdown, I was with that girl and then all that stuff. I was blue pill. I was sugar and girls, sugar and spice and everything nice. Same thing. I've told you guys before about how badly I wish I wish I could believe in a God again. The safety blanket.
Damn, that's
the safety blanket
real.
that exists when you believe that your life is planned out and somebody is watching and making sure and making moves and saving a seat in eternal paradise for you. When that gets taken away from you,
that's hard, man.
You want to talk about red pill rage. That is where the militant atheist came from. It's exactly the same as the red pill rage.
I never even thought of that before.
Oh, yes, I was. Yes, I was. I was as blue pilled and as beta as they come.
Can I level with you guys? Can I level with you guys?
Please do.
At home with my ladies, I'm blue pill as fuck.
But
when I go and I date other women outside, red, crimson, deep fucking red.
Well, and I would still consider that red pilled, because it's not that you are not maintaining frame. It's just the fact that you have established that frame so much so that you can just be yourself and not have to be this defense, defensive lineman all the time. They have showed you enough, or in red pill terms, you've done enough vetting that you know that they're not like just some thought on the street. They have earned that level of getting past your defenses. And especially you guys just celebrated 17 years, right? 16 or 17? 17? Congratulations. And that's a lot of time. That's a lot of work. I've never been in a relationship that long, but I've been in multiple relationships about 2.5, 3 years. And, even at that stage, the honeymoon period ends very, very quickly. And, especially if you're monogamous, then there's no escape. And so there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And when that work is done, and it's done properly, and it's done in good faith, then you can have the type of relationships that Dr. Evil Genius has.
Does celibate Scorpion watch 8 Thoughts? I swear she watches 8 Thoughts.
I have no idea what that is. She said, I'm red pill, but not manosphere.
If you get that reference, then I salute you. Oh, that's just sad.
She says, I'm red pill, but not manosphere type. I mean, Matrix red pill.
Yeah,
so that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, the Matrix red pill. The manosphere red pill is just a division of the Matrix red pill, because the principle of it is that what you were sold is a false reality, and we're going to show you the real reality behind that. So in the context of the manosphere red pill, is that we were told that girls are perfect and we should do everything for them, and they would love us for it. They would love us for fawning all over them, for giving them affection, for caring about them. And the opposite is true. Women tend to go for guys that don't give a flying fuck about them, that will give them nothing but hard dick and bubble gum. Right? Yep. And so we find that out the hard way, that what we're sold is not true. It's just as red pill as anything else. He used the religion example. I use the economic example in the workplace.
And there's a lot of different iterations, but again, as celibate, Dr. Evil Genius had just said this before he got here, but it's basically just acknowledging that what is the accepted belief on anything is not what it is. There may be truth to it. Like, yes, the president of the United States is Joe Biden. But there's, and I'm not saying it was just, but like rules were changed, I mean, no, I am not the plug. I tried to be the plug last 3 days.
No, he's looking for the plug.
I know you are, but you don't have to worry about that on your own, homie. So let's shift the conversation then to looking forward. How then, again, the question remains, how does one get to the place where how do you get to the place where you're not only able to realize that something is going wrong, but you're able to acknowledge it in the moment and also address it within yourself and stop yourself. How do you get to that point when people aren't willing to give you that benefit of the doubt, which they don't owe you, but they're not willing to?
So I'm a person that is constantly analyzing everything at all times. So for me, I'm looking at things in the terms of what is the likely outcome of this behavior and or statement. So I look at the landscape. I pay attention to people. I people watch. I listen to other people. Even though people might not tell you something directly, there's a lot of prior art out there that if you're paying attention, you kind of get a feel for how things are going to most likely turn out in certain situations. So even though people are not going to give you the grace, because they're probably people who also aren't being given grace, you can kind of like scoop together a large piece of data and then kind of figure out what works and what doesn't. And so, one of the things that I kind of figured out is from afar, these people respond to this more often than they respond to that. So let me dig deeper into this, right? So I had a lot of questions, Lutch. I had a lot of questions that were red pill related. I had a lot of questions, right?
Bring them on.
So I'm going to take you back to when I was 32 years old and had a lot less gray hair. A lot less gray hair.
I got this here.
I was working for a chain gym, and I had built myself up to like the best physique I ever had, right? And I started to notice that the same chicks that would act like I was about to essay them in the middle of the street on 5th Avenue at 2:00 in the afternoon. What? Like every time you walk down the street, they're like, oh my God, right? They're all panicky, like you're going to do something to them. And I'm just trying to walk down the street, right? Well, that summer, my age 32 summer, I pack on a bunch of muscle. I got really strong. I only wore tank tops the whole summer. And the same chicks that would be like, oh my God, now they're twirling their hair. And I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. So later in my age 32 year, I was really pricing hard what my first car was going to be. Now I don't even have a driver's license at this point, but I was studying the cars that I wanted, right? And I had already paid for my driving lessons and stuff like that. Everybody told me I should get a hoopty. And I'm like, I don't want somebody else's fucking garbage ass car.
Yeah.
Go get a used car. What? Does somebody else farted in? Are you serious? You're wildin'. So I ended up, can you starve that question from Celibate Scorpion?
Yep. We're going to go back to that Celibate Scorpion.
So I really, the thing that got me into cars was the 2014 Mercedes-Benz S550 4MATIC. And I saw that car in 2013. I decided I'm going to go out there and earn a really nice car, right? I went, got a good job working at a gym, making decent money. I got loyal. I have loyal clients the whole bit. I get up enough money to lease what ended up being, and this is in 2015, by the way. I leased a 2016 BMW X5 xDrive 35i in it was like space gray.
Nice.
I love gray.
Too. I said shit. Me too. That gunmetal.
I love gray. Ooh. I love gray, man.
Agreed.
Nice Evil has. Oh yeah, I'll get to the Mercedes-Benz later. I'll get to the Mercedes-Benz later, okay? Because I've had a couple of those too. So the first car I chose was, obviously I'm 6'3", and so sedans don't really work out as well for me because I didn't have a lot of experience in cars, and every time I would go to get in a car, my knee would slam against the steering wheel, and I was just like, no, an SUV is better for me. I found this gray X5. I got it. I think my lease payment was like $700 a month. I was happy, right? I ordered my car, and then I got my driver's license after. I passed a road test after I ordered the car because I was so confident that I had that shit.
This
right?
man passed a driving test. Let's go.
I passed the driving test after I ordered the car. And so what I did was I started doing it was like social experiments, right? So I would go outside and I would be looking like a complete fucking bum. I would go out here like with my facial hair this fucked up, my hair looking fucked up, looking drabby after work, right? And then I would walk toward the vehicle and people would break their necks because I'm walking to this super nice car that was late model at the time. And I'm walking towards it like, that bum ass nigga shouldn't be walking towards that car, right? And then I would hit the button on it. And then like, it's obvious that I got the keys for it. And then I would get it and drive away. And people would be like, what the fuck? And I love triggering people like that because it taught me a lot about everything that I have heard about how people react to people who seem like they have excess and people that seem like they don't. I mix the two, right? So I remember there was this this black chick that was working at a toll booth. And because this was like my first time really driving, I ended up on the wrong road because I read the GPS wrong. And I ended up at the toll booth when I wasn't supposed to be there, right? Now, this is the type of chick that would normally roast me because I'm not black enough. I sound white.
At the toll booth? Or in your...
No, the type of chick that's at the toll booth would normally clown me because I'm not nigga enough, pretty much, right? I don't wear my pants halfway down my ass. I don't look like I sell drugs or shoot people for no reason, right? So
I'm gonna come back to that too.
So when I pulled up there, she put on the bedroom eyes, and I was just like, got-ing! And I was lost. I was like, I'm not even supposed to be here right now. I don't know where I'm at. I'm fucking lost. She's looking at the X5, and she was like, you have a nice car. And I was like, thank you. And then I pulled off and then got the fucking toll bill in the mail later. But normally that type of chick, if she saw me in the street, taking the train, coming home from when I was, used to work at this awful shipping company that should not be named, UPS.
This dusty.
So,
this dusty motherfucker.
You know what I'm saying? Like, right? So I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow. Like I couldn't actually like believe that what people said about female nature was true. I couldn't believe it, but I had to test it. I had to. Okay. Now, when I got the black Mercedes that I replaced it with in 2018, I had a 2018 GLE 350. I didn't even want that car. I test drove a Porsche Macan, but I didn't think that the car was big enough for me to like help people move. Cause like when people ask me for help, I want to go help them. So I wanted a vehicle that if somebody needed my help, or if I needed to carry like a bunch of groceries or something like that, that I had the cargo room. And the Macan is a compact SUV. They say they have really great driving dynamics, the whole nine, but I wanted something that I can help more people with, the first lady, her family, my family, et cetera, right? The first lady just sent me a picture of me when I went to go pick up the car. And I look like I was so weird. Right?
Aww.
Right? That was my first
Look
car.
Look how happy he is.
Right? I made sure that my hat matched my sneakers. I don't know if you guys are sneakerheads out there. I got 95 pairs of sneakers behind me, right? But I went and that was my first car. I had the brown interior. I don't know, man. I just liked it. I loved. I picked everything that was in the car. I did everything that I wanted. I got everything that I wanted. And the way that people react to me was so different. But then when I got the black Mercedes, I now existed to attractive mid-20s to mid-30s white women. I was invisible to them chicks before that. Right?
Always.
Right?
Always.
I'll answer all your questions.
Yeah, we're going to come back to them, guys.
Yeah, we're going to come back to all of that.
I don't usually have guests, so I want to be respectful. So don't worry. We're starting all of it.
We're going to get in all that. When I got the black Mercedes, I suddenly was on the radar of, women that I would they would not even register my existence on this planet. And then when I got the white Mercedes, I'm telling you, Lutch, when I come through in the GLE 450, I have a 2021 GLE 450. In like this designo metallic white. It looks like when the sun hits it, it's like that mother of pearl type of thing.
Yeah. My mom's car is that. I mean, it's a Mazda.
You're gonna like that interior when you see it. I'm telling you, right?
Ooh.
When I got that shit, I went to a wedding right after that with a bunch of rich Jewish people. Okay, I'm a black man.
That was the end of the story.
I'm a black man walking in with a Hispanic wife and an Asian wife at a Jewish wedding. When I pulled up in my $1,400 tuxedo that I got for the wedding, I didn't rent the tuxedo. I bought that. Right? Like that was like 10 hours worth of pay I spent on one suit. I pulled up in that Mercedes, and all of the older Jewish people that were there, I had the respect of everybody that was there. Like that, when they saw me pull up and pull off. Because the car is classy as fuck.
It's clout. It's attention. It's
and
status.
Then when I got the blue BMW, woo!
Game changer.
Woo! When I got the blue Beamer and the top came down, you want to talk about female nature? I want to talk to you about middle-aged white man nature. Yo, the way that people...
Hey, boy, I like your car there.
The way that people reacted to me... Dan Jensen, you have no idea how right you are with that right there. You have no fucking clue how right you are. I'm just going to leave it at that.
So yeah, Scorpion obviously figured out you're not MGTOW, but if you'd like to,
So let me explain that more directly. Do you consider yourself men going their own way, Dr. Evil? Or are you a red pill pick up artist for those scoring at home? I am neither, but I definitely understand the MGTOW guys. I understand exactly where they're coming from. I know what their struggles are, and I understand that even though every man goes through a similar struggle trying to get the attention and or affection of literally any woman that doesn't look like Jabba the Hutt. Everybody has their threshold for what they can and cannot deal with. And so you got guys that are like, listen, I got rejected 100 times. I'm going to go out there and get rejected the 101st time. They have a higher threshold to deal with these types of issues. The MGTOW guy just simply have less tolerance for bullshit than other guys. And they're not fucking ruled by their penis and their constant quest to get it wet. So for them, they're like, listen, the juice is not worth the squeeze. I'm out. And to those guys, I wish that they didn't lose all hope, because I'm of the belief that there is a number that's greater than 50%. I don't know what that number is. It could be 50.0001%, or it could be 65%. I can't tell you, but I'm of the belief that there is a greater than 50% amount of women, even in our country, that are worth dealing with than not. But it's just that the ones that are worth dealing with are not out there begging for attention. So a lot of them, you just walk past them, you don't even see them. So I really wish that the MGTOW guys didn't feel like they had to come to that point. But I'd much rather them kind of stay away from women than be the next guy that makes it hard for the rest of us to live because they did something violent to one of them.
Right. And I mean, just personally, I'm not very active in dating. I was flirting with the idea of, considering myself MGTOW. But I'm just not. The notion of it not being worth it for me, it's just kind of not worth it right now.
Mhm.
And so I'm just not focusing on it. So, again, I think I think there's red pill people where you can call it monk mode or whatever, where I'm just focusing on,
No
getting my,
fap.
well, I didn't say any of that. I did not say that. Don't get it twisted.
You must retain your life force. Back it all the way up.
but yeah, I'm just like, look, I get it. I'm short, I'm skinny, I'm broke. It is what it is. I can't get any taller, but I could definitely get clout and muscles and money. So let's work on that.
Well, when you get 10,000 subscribers, come see me in New York. And we can get that muscle thing going.
So I've been dying to hear the answer to Selma Scorpion.
So aren't you scared of being married to 2 wives? See, here in the United States, it is not legal to be married to more than one person at a time. So I have the shortcut. When we met the second lady, we dissolved the marriage that I had with the first lady, and now the women are married to each other. So if you're thinking that I'm in danger, the way that a lot of guys are afraid to be in danger, I'm not in that danger. But I'm not in that danger not just because of the legal ramifications, but because I was very, very intentional about the women that I committed to. I look for behavioral patterns that are going to extrapolate out into the future. See, I didn't just say what I said earlier in the stream just to put my fucking personal business out there. When I told you guys that I learned how to be risk averse through surviving extreme child abuse, I was not kidding. I am very risk averse. So when I go out there and I'm looking for somebody to get involved with on any level, I'm very, very careful to pick up on different behavioral patterns that I know will extrapolate into somebody that I want to know for a long time, or someone that needs to get the fuck away from me. And it does not matter how physically attractive they are. I don't care. If you don't have the right mindset and the right personality that I think fits me, and by extension respects the women of my home, I don't give a fuck what you look like. I don't give a fuck what that mouth, ass, or pussy do. Don't give a fuck. Exit stage left.
So we got a follow-up here. So you mean they are bi?
I would say one is bi, and one I would think would classify as, what's the term? Heteroflexible.
So bi.
No. Heteroflexible people are people who are really, really straight, but because they have a specific bond with a specific person for a specific reason, they will make an exception for that one situation or person, right?
Gotcha.
But they're not I'm attracted to women. Gotcha. It's just that they spent so much time around each other, and we all support each other, that there is an appreciation that is there that looks like bisexuality. But if they went out there and went out into the world, they would never deal. She would never deal. The second lady would never deal with a woman if it wasn't this woman.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But we got another super chat from Dan Jensen. Already sponsored the stream and still putting food in my mouth. And still, this.
Oh, does this work? Does this work, Lutch?
I can do it.
It's time.
There we go. Another one just for Bruce Banner. Thank you so much, Dan. Let me update this banner here. Yeah. So I mean that makes a lot of sense, and the aspect of
I'm 100% straight. I ain't fucking no niggas. So I'm just putting that out there because I know somebody's gonna ask it.
Glad to, yeah, there you go.
I'm cutting that question off before it ever gets typed and put on the screen.
Fair enough. So I mean,
so that's a woman that gave up. She's straight. She's attracted to men, right? That's a person that just didn't have the wherewithal to deal with the risks that come with. See, Scuba Doom, if you signed for a package at birth, you're disqualified. So, yeah. you're disqualified. 100%. And that means everybody that signed for a package at birth.
Yep. Yeah. So, the idea of, bringing it back to, the base conversation of public discourse, interacting with others, and how that relates to content creation, and just, outside of that as well, but specifically content. Do you feel like that has helped you to, not only just have people around to bounce ideas off of? Obviously, they help with other things with the channel. But do you find that, whereas with me, you can see that I have a lot staked in my community, for better or worse, because I don't really have anyone else around me. Do you think that allows you to approach content creation in a more, in a better way?
I'm not really sure. I just think that with content creation, there are a lot of difficulties, but there are a lot of lessons that are learned with these difficulties. And because, in your everyday life, most of the people you're going to deal with are people that you see all the time. And a lot of the times, those people know what your opinions on things. So when you see another example of it, they're not going to want to hear your opinion again. But when you create content, you can report on a situation as many times as you want. And if people are feeling it, they're going to watch it. And if they don't, they won't watch it. So it takes a lot of pressure off of me to feel like, when I start to feel ranty a little bit, it takes a lot of pressure off of me, because once something happens, like what happened to Justin Roiland, I woke up out of a nap. Cap called me. I woke up out of a nap. I checked my email, saw the breaking news. I said, we need to get in the fucking studio right now. And I went off. And the thing is, I don't have to go off with anybody else. If somebody wants to know my opinion, hey, come check out my podcast. I'm not going to repeat my opinion on this again. And here, check that out. Listen to that. If you really want to know what I think, I'll give you the link to a video.
Boom. And I mean, that's the way to do it. Exactly the same thing. Just found I found that, like we were talking about earlier, just too much friction in the types of conversations I was trying to have. People weren't interested, and so okay, let me take a step back and just create my own space. So if you're here, you are co-signing that you want to hear this.
Yep.
And if you don't want to, if you hear something you don't like, you are free to leave, so on and so forth. We all know how YouTube works.
Right.
And so,
and I've been a supporter of you. I've been a big supporter of you, but I just told you recently, I look at the thumbnail or a title that I don't think is being approached at in good faith, I'm not clicking on it. And we're friends. I'm not clicking on it. If I don't like it, if I don't like where I think that you're going, I'm not going to click on it. If I'm not sure, I am going to click on it. And I'm going to listen. And if what I suspect was true, I'm gone. I don't leave a dislike. I don't leave a dislike. I don't do any of that.
I mean, that's better engagement, but
I'm
just kidding.
No, because I just there's a certain.
I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah, there's a certain loyalty thing why I don't do it. But I never interact with content that I don't want to, because who's to know what you really represent if you're doing stuff not in good faith, if you're approaching a conversation not in good faith, if you're faking your support. I think that people need to know, no, I really do support you here, but nah, I ain't on the train with that. And then you get to learn about what works and what doesn't. And sometimes it's not about what you believe, it's how you frame it. Like I told you with the whole thing with the reparations, right? It's not that people don't want to talk to you. Is that sometimes the way that you might pose your position or a question, it might rub people the wrong way. And it's like, okay, if they didn't respond well to this, maybe I could try ask this question a different way. And then maybe I might get better results from that. So it's a constant, try and fail type of thing.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a very good example of something that I feel like I'm in a unique position to breach that. And I might not be the best, I might not have the best ideas about it, but to break through that impasse, I think I'm in a better position than most because I'm not white, I'm not black. I mean, I've accepted the conservative title, but I don't consider myself conservative. I say it,
disaffected liberal like Tim Pool.
Exactly, 100%. Shout out to Tim Pool. And the what the hell was I saying? Oh yeah. But being a conservative on one side and then being an atheist on the other side, it's just when I can show that I legitimately represent all of these seemingly contradictory positions, and they turn out not to contradict each other, then at least if I am too brash or I'm too ignorant about something, then I'm hoping that, maybe not today, but over time, I have the reputation that somebody who doesn't agree with my stance can see, like you and I were talking yesterday, that you could see the intention. And right. But you and I have spent a lot of time talking, more time than most other people I know. At least recently. And so that's why I try to be respectful when, it gets to a place that's too heated. But, obviously we started this whole conversation off with an instance of me not realizing that I was getting, that it was getting too heated on my account. And so that is really, the kind of what kicked all of this off, is wanting to be able to address these topics that, as you say, it's not that people don't want to talk about it, it's that they don't want to talk about it in the way that is typically talked about. And it's difficult because there's no blueprint for, okay, well, what is the right way to talk about this? And
celibate's got you there.
She
and
sometimes does.
And the thing is, when she talks about how much you like to debate, I mean, when you approach something, when you approach something in a debate format, you're already got people on the defensive. And the thing is, I used to love to debate people too, and I'm just like, I just don't. And I think I told you this too, man.
Real quick, thank you so much, Scuba Doo. You have a good one. Thanks for partying with us. Oh, what the hell?
Critical thing.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah. I don't know why my voice keeps popping up.
No, because I have the stream in the other window, and I'm used to pausing a video, so I have the pause button. So never mind. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah. So the thing is that a lot of times you're already putting somebody on a defensive, and sometimes it may not even be you that's putting the people on the defensive. Sometimes, and I explained this to you before, is that people are having a lot of problems in their lives. This is probably the hardest era for humanity that I've witnessed. I've been around since 1983. So I'm going to be 40 years old this year. I don't have all the answers. I haven't seen everything. What? But when I look at the things that I've seen and how, again, remember, I pay attention to patterns. I'm very, very pattern conscious. What I'm seeing is that every generation is struggling more to deal with more stress. And so back in the day, you could have a debate, give each other a pound, and walk out the barbershop, and it's all good. But now sometimes debates spark shootings. Why? Oh, that guy is evil. That's why he shot him, because, no, it's much.
Because they're soft.
Much deeper than that. It's much, much deeper than that. Is that people have so much stress so much of the time, and they have so much sensory overload because they got the phones and the different colors and the lights, and the corporations are manipulating your brain to buy stuff using colors. So everything that you've ever,
whether it's rainbows or it's black, they're using colors to
so an example of this would be, if you notice that almost all the fast food restaurants use some combination of yellow, orange, and red for a reason.
Urgency.
Because it actually wakes up something in your appetite. Those colors.
What I heard was that they use those colors because it brings up urgency, and they want fast turnover.
No, it's not an urgency thing. It is something that your body responds to. They're hacking your brain. They're hacking your brain. Even the people, the places that you sit down and eat, and there's no urgency. They use the same color combinations. They use warm colors. So it's just kind of like you have so many things vying for your attention. I think one of you guys said you have like 20 apps, looking for the opportunity to fry your brain. Try 2,000. And some of the apps aren't on your phone. They're everywhere around you, especially in New York City where I live. The light pollution is insane.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's always trying to sell you something, trying to tell you who you are and who to be. And so people are having so many problems. Then you want to fucking talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and you're like, fuck this. I can't deal with this. So sometimes it's not even you. Sometimes it's just people are going through shit, and it can't just add one more stressful thing. Which is why, like on my channel, we just did like this 2-part series where we reacted to the cut. Can you guess this woman's body count? Can you guess this man's body count? And we're taking the piss. We're roasting. We're having jokes. We had like a little bit of like a sexual health PSA. Not everybody wants to be stressed out by this thing, and they're grooming our children, and there's reptiles worshiping owls on Bohemian Grove. Like sometimes people just like, what? Can we just do something else? Can we talk about something else? Sometimes I just don't want to fucking debate. I don't want to be on the defensive. I don't want to recall all the information that I have in my head that I'm not prepared to talk about right now. So I'm not going to get all of it right. And then I'm going to look like an idiot. I don't want to do all of that. And that's how you get some of those situations.
And I completely 1000% understand that. That is exactly why I started my own channel, and because there is an entire population of people trying to do exactly what I'm trying to do. And it's just a matter of, getting to the place where, where I'm finding the people, as Dan said earlier, just finding the right people. And, because I don't want, like right now, when it comes to specifically like Black issues, I try to tackle them because I think they're important. And I try to take the position of, hey, this is my opinion on what I see, but I don't know. And so let me go to other people. So, I don't have many people Black people willing to talk about this besides you and Darshan. And so it's great to have that, but it still leaves me with a limited sense because even you guys have your own individual perspectives, obviously. Right. And so I 100%. I'm not trying to go to anybody's house and say, hey, you have to debate me right now. I'm not a fucking Jehovah's Witness. I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. I am saying, hey, I'm here.
Oh, this is what I'm doing. You went there. Oh, yeah. Shit, you went there.
I went there. I hate man. They wake me up so often. Sometimes I can sense it, and I do, it's Friday night. So when, and then, fights can go how long? So I need to sleep on Saturdays. And
do you want to know something funny, TIJ? Want to know something funny? Do you know why I blocked you from bringing up political shit on the podcast?
I have an idea, but why don't you tell me?
Dan Jensen is why.
Okay.
Dan Jensen is why I shut down political speech during the MMA fight companion. He's because he would say, there are fights going on. Can we talk about the fights? Can we talk about the fights? I'm checking out here. And then other people were like, oh, yeah, we don't want to hear about that right now either. I don't. Oh, and by the way, I come from that religious background, by the way, which is why I was like, damn, why'd you go there?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
But yeah, I come from that background, right? But Dan Jensen was the one that was like, listen, he was the one that kind of led that. And some of the other viewers are like, listen, we don't want to talk about all of this heavy stuff. There are people that we want to see bleed right now. And what it reminded me of is that there are so many problems in the world. You come to a fight party and then we bring the problems back to them, you know? And I think that, that that really taught me a lesson about the appropriate time and the appropriate place, because a lot of people are stressed out, man.
And and again, 100%. That's why, when and I mean, it's just natural for it's just natural for me. That's just how my mind works. I'm always, whatever. But I would be very receptive. Be like, all right, we're not going to talk about that. Like, oh God, all right, yeah. And like,
Right.
your platform, your audience, your show. I want to respect that platform. And so this platform is not the Filthy Casual MMA Watch Party. This platform is, hey, we want to get into the weeds. And we're going to make it entertaining for you at the same time. So that's two intersecting things that you want. You're going to be entertained. You're going to have fun. Even if you disagree, you are welcome to be part of the conversation that will also be entertaining. And then you'll likely learn something, whether it's something of fact or learn about how other people think or how other people talk, whatever it is. That is what this is for. And so that's what this place is for. And so that's why I don't feel I don't feel like I want to slow that down, because there are people out there who want to see that. There are people out there who want to do that. And those who maybe find me interesting but get tired of me, hey, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. I'll probably get tired of you on my ass too. And that's why I'm not going to anybody's page. I'm not going to anybody's channel to say, hey, you have to talk to me. You have to do this. You have to do that. This is the only place in the entire universe, besides my Discord as well, that I can do things my way.
My way, exactly.
And the whole reason that we brought it up, but I made a note to myself about the irony of how other people act when they're wrong versus how I'm expected to act when I'm wrong.
Ooh, that's a bar, son. Oh, I don't think they're ready for that conversation.
I'm wrong all the goddamn time.
They don't want to have that conversation.
Oh, then you can leave. I mean, that's what it is. We having a conversation. This is what it is. And I feel like I am so gracious to people, even though I can be abrasive in the way that I speak. I'm always willing to hear you out. I mean, y'all know Seabass. We talked the last 2 nights. I had conversations with him. Chester was in there too. We were hanging out. We were having conversations. And as long as you were speaking in good faith, then it's just an exploration of ideas to me. And it may get heated, but it only gets heated in the context of that conversation. And I understand there are some people who can compartmentalize that more easily than others. And it's not a better or worse or anything. It's just some people,
just different.
Yeah. In the same way that there's things that I do worse than others, I happen to do this better than others. And it's just about owning who you are. But then, that again comes back to the, bring it full circle, that if I'm going to be who I am and not be accepted by anybody, then it starts to fuck with your head. Like, okay, well, obviously I'm doing something that's off. Is it wrong, or am I just talking to the wrong people?
Or framing it improperly to reach the most people. And that's why, if we bring it back to content creation and the intersection of content creation and public discourse, I think that for both of us, it is important for us to understand this one very important concept.
Real quick, this is a bar from MA right here. Miss Anthropic says, good faith requires humility. It is tough for some to nail this. 100%. 100%.
Yeah. And the thing is that when you build a platform like yours, one of the things that will help keep you sane, I believe, because it's helped me keep me sane. Because I know that once I stepped into the manosphere, I knew that I was going to be judged inaccurately. I know that I was going to be judged. I know I was going to have my words misrepresented. I know that people were going to lie and put words in my mouth. I knew that people were going to lob insults in shaming language. But one of the things that I had to kind of keep in mind as well is that when I go into a certain niche and I talk about certain things and I get known for a certain thing, I have to expect that success on the platform is not going to be for a long time. And I have to take that approach from the very beginning. I am years away from recouping any of the money that I spent to make this whole thing possible. And so it slows me down when I put so much effort into a video and get 22 views and 2 likes, and one of them was from Captain Paul and the other one was from one of the women. Right? You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
When I understand
all too well.
Want to be.
So, but I'm going to come back to that one as well.
Yeah, I know that when I went into this, it's going to keep me level if I don't expect success in the beginning. But I know that if I continue to approach these discussions in good faith, somebody's going to wander into my stream. Somebody that wanders into my stream is going to tell somebody else. I'll see where I'm at 3 to 5 years from now. And what that does is it slows me down. I don't get as frustrated. I'm able to stay the course. I'm able to avoid going about the clout chasing the wrong way. Right? I'm staying true to myself, sticking to my guns, but also understanding that I don't have the looks that's going to get people. I don't have the same kind of charisma that other people have that gets people to subscribe. I'm just going to have to stay the course with what I am, but I'm going to have to evolve over time so that my message actually gets through. If I give my message out there in a flavor that is bitter to people, then it doesn't matter how much truth I'm telling because nobody wants to hear it. So I'm going to have to continue to keep calibrating what I say and how I say it so I can get my message out there and then get the feedback that I'm looking for better or for worse.
Absolutely. Well said. And, again, that's, I'm not going to get into too much detail about my bugging out the other night, but, not talking about the message that I put in the Discord again, that if anybody wasn't here before, that was meant as a rally with the troops, not a like, wah, poor me.
Mm-hmm.
I fucked up, whatever. But the thing is that you have those moments of not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm feeling like you're just spinning your wheels, and like when you get into this, you know intellectually that that's part of the game. But just like we were talking, bringing up your cars, you can take every written test in the goddamn world. But you're not going to learn to drive until you get behind the wheel and start driving.
Yep. And, by the way, I was homeless in 2003. So when I talk about the cars that I'm driving, you need to understand the context of where I'm from. I'm not coming from some super privileged position. I had a lot of help along the way. I had to get it out the goddamn mud. Believe that.
Thanks. So, 100% agreed, Dan. And that was, I lost sight of that for a moment, and I'm only human, and it is what it is. But so Selvin Scorpion said, "True, I know I could come across as arrogant sometimes when I'm discussing things."
Me too.
So, me three. The question I have is that necessarily a bad thing?
Yes.
Why?
For the same reason that I criticized the frauds in Florida, the main criticism is that if your message is not represented well, you could be doing damage to the message. So if people think that you are know-it-all and you're arrogant, even if you're telling the truth, they now believe what you're saying is a lie. And so if we're not having the desire, if we're not having the desired effect that our message is supposed to have, then we're failing. And we have to have the humility to understand that.
I wouldn't say that those are mutually exclusive. I think you can carry out like if you're going to tell me that 2 + 2 = 5, I'm going to be arrogant. Like, motherfucker, I know 2 + 2 = 4. I'm
My
going to hear
approach
you
is
out.
different.
I'm gonna I'm gonna hear you out, and you can explain why you think 2 + 2 = 5. I'm gonna hear you out, and I'm gonna respect your position. I'm gonna explain why everything that you're saying is wrong to me.
But
And
that's not arrogant. That's the antithesis of arrogance. You just explain what arrogance isn't.
So, because I when I say arrogant, I'm like, motherfucker, I know this shit.
I mean, you
When I
might
do
be
actually
feeling
know this
arrogant
shit.
in the moment, but you just said, "Hey, I'll hear you out. I'll present my evidence." That's not arrogance, because that's what I was going to say. I was like, I handle it differently. If somebody wanted to tell me 2 + 2 = 5, the first thing I would do is pull out a pad, a paper, and a pen, and then go over the concept with them, and then have them show me what they think, how it works, and then I'll do the math on my side, and then I'll show it to them, and then let them come to the conclusion themselves.
Hey, speak of the devil, we got Darshawn McAway in the building. Welcome to the party. Darshawn, another awesome content creator doing his thing. Just drop the link in the chat. Oh, I'm so glad you are here, brother. Yeah, we're just talking
Can you
about
highlight Celibate's confusion comment?
Yep. Just to recap, for
Like how
Darshawn, we're
Dan
just
Jensen
talking
spells
about
everybody's name wrong when their
we're
name is
just
on the screen.
talking about public discourse, interacting with each other, and how that relates to content creation. So Celibate Scorpion says, I think people confuse being confident about what you're saying with being an arrogant know-it-all.
Here's where it gets real tricky, Lutch. Here's where it gets real tricky. Imagine if you're not being arrogant and then people perceive you to be arrogant. What do you do?
That is the crux of my entire existence. That is the crucial cornerstone question of my entire existence. And that's exactly the point, is because I have just said, yes, I can be arrogant. I will be arrogant. And I'm going to all of that stuff. And you're saying that that's not arrogance, but exactly the scenario you just presented, where I'm not being arrogant. I'm just being confident, and I get the arrogant know-it-all. So
Misanthropic's comment is very apropos here. You have to be willing to offend your opponent, but you don't have to offend your opponent. Discretion is a superpower. And then the word of all words.
Bars.
Tact.
Love it.
And that is how I diffuse a lot of these situations. People come at me with a lot of aggression. And you know what I do? I purposefully put the kid gloves on at that moment and say, listen, I'm not your enemy. We're having a discussion. All right, let's go through this. I want to know how you came to your conclusion. And then I'm going to explain what I went through, the things that I experienced, the things that I observation that led me to my conclusion. And the different twists and turns, because a conclusion that I had before was changed by learning something else. And sometimes I go back and forth. Mm-hmm. So when you level with people and you remind them, especially on the internet, that I'm just human, just like you, and I don't see you as my enemy, I'm able to get my point across in a way that restores faith in them. In them, they think, oh, public discourse is possible. And now I'm trying to help towards that tipping point. I'm trying to get things to come back to people being able to come to the table without fearing that somebody is going to judge them, and then say, you know what, I'm just going to judge your ideas. And then they go out there just judging people's ideas and not the person. And that's how you put the right energy out into the world to try to get things to change around a little bit. That's just my opinion.
So let me just present this to you, that, you know, when Misanthropic Ultra said, you have to be willing to offend your opponent. And I don't even like the word opponent there, but semantics
in the debate, in the context of the debate.
But again, that's semantics, so we won't deal with that. But
Shout out
the
to
the
Darshan.
you know, the core of that is you talked about kid gloves. I am I am a small person. So for my entire life, I have physically looked up at all of you. So when tiny 5'4" little me with, super jacked comes out and all I'm doing is talking to you and you get butthurt, I lose respect for you.
That is a good fucking point. I never even thought about it that way.
Like if I was some big burly
That's how
dude,
black people look at white people who complain about being silenced. They're like, you want to talk about being silenced? Try being black, So I get what you're talking about. I get it.
Try being short.
No, I don't think that white people should be silenced. I think it's wrong. So, I want to make that very, very clear. I'm not on board with the only people that are allowed to talk are people who are not straight, white, and male.
Yeah,
I'm not on that type of time. Fuck out of here with that.
Yeah, but you're a woman, so it's a whole different game, girl.
What she's saying is she'll stop going her own way and she'll entertain you because you are taller than her, and that's all that matters, right?
The DMs, girl, slide on in.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right. So one last thing that I really want to touch on, and we can, if you got more to say, we could definitely talk about it. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Going back to the idea of that people don't extend the same kind of grace that they expect from me. That's the you piece of shit. The trouble is then I feel like, so we know the bigotry of low expectations, right? In the context of racism, the most common form of racism back in the day was, hey, you N-word, you're lesser than, because saying that. And now the racism is, oh, the black people, they need help because, they have and they can't do anything for themselves. So if we don't do this, they're not going to be able to do it. Now, I'm not saying there's not any social inequities that need to be or could be addressed.
A pushback on that one thing, because you talk about the bigotry of low expectations.
Mm-hmm.
From the black perspective, there are a lot of situations, mostly social, sometimes intellectual, where we have the bigotry of high expectations.
100% agreed.
And I'll put it to you like this. My expensive fucking blue convertible BMW, some dude hit my car on my way to Jersey with his MAGA truck. Today. On my way to a BMW drivers event.
How dare you?
Now, and misanthropic, thank you for that. The bigotry of impossible expectations. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
because when the dude hit my car,
I'm right here, but I'm gonna post you.
But I had to mute my anger because I knew that if I would have reacted as angry as any white person in the same position, having his expensive sports car being hit by somebody who was not paying attention and not sharing the road, I wouldn't be able to get away with that. The Port Authority police officer would probably put his hand on the back of his service weapon. I don't have the same space to emote aggressively as somebody of another race. So I have to be so much nicer and I have to appear so much less of a danger or a threat than everybody else around me. Because the minute I get upset, oh, well, there goes that dude again. Oh, there goes that guy again. Oh,
there's another one.
Right? So it's just kind of, some of these things that I've experienced and I've seen, and I know that in certain situations that a white guy can get away with, I know there is no way in hell that I can. So I have to be extra careful about what I do and say, and even the posture that I take. So sometimes, yes, there's that weird bigotry of low expectations, but for me sitting from this position over here, I'm just kind of like, well, I'm not even allowed to emote anger like a regular dude without a police officer fearing for his life.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely hear that 100%. And I was just using that as an example that we all understand, that racism has changed. It's changed, and the more common thing is that bigotry of low expectations of that. And so, point being,
Your parents
when
can do whatever the fuck they want to do.
if I'm going to approach every conversation with another adult human being with kid gloves, I feel like that's disrespectful. That's at least more disrespectful to them than just treating you like I would treat any other person. I'm me. This is who I am. I'm not like coming at you. I'm just me.
Sometimes you got to read
Do you
the
want
room.
me to? Yeah, and I'm learning that. But like it's again, it comes to that where was the comment? No. You asked it. You brought up the scenario when we were talking about being arrogant. And that's why I said that I do think I'm arrogant. And you're like, you just described what is not arrogance. And so when I'm in that situation, like, okay, I agree with you. That's what I've been, that's where my head was at this whole time.
Right.
But other people didn't quite agree.
Right.
And so how then, and this isn't a direct question, but more just a jump off. But then how does one in that situation address that? What is the because if you don't know, again, we're talking about, you did something that caused the other person to whatever. You don't know what it was, and you're willing to explain it, but they've already made up their mind. And so for me, that's just been like, all right, well, I lost that one. There was another one we were just talking about yesterday.
Sometimes you do have to hold the L, right? And you have to do so with dignity. But
in what way? In what way?
Well, when you say like you've done something, you don't quite know what it is. You just know that whatever it did, and then they go away. There's no way that you can undo. You can't unspill the milk,
right?
In this situation, then hold the L. Be like, I need to learn something from this. You can't just walk off and say, "Oh, well, I lost it. Keep it moving." No, you got to use that as you have to use that as an opportunity to figure it out, so you don't fuck it up with the next person. And so, how would I not fuck it up with the next person?
And so then, when you
I would analyze what that situation from top to bottom.
Okay,
and
so
the
you do that.
The question is always, what can I do? What could I have done differently to affect a different outcome?
Okay, so let's say you do all of that. This is exactly the situation we were talking about before, about going to somebody with your issues and come on, and them making it about themselves. I'm not saying you're doing that, but so let's say you do that, and then it happens again, and you're like, okay, I thought I was doing better with this. So then it happens again when you tried something different. Like, damn, well, that didn't work.
It's a different
Then
variable.
it happens again and 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 again.
Then you have to change the variable.
None of those people are willing to address it. None of those people are willing, and they don't owe me that. I understand that, but they're not willing to.
The world does not owe you or me understanding. Shout out to KS.
Yep. But they want me to. So if you want me to understand, I get it's not your job to educate me. But then I can't, I'm doing the best I can, and it's not good enough for you. So if you want me to change, then you got to do something. You got to help me out. I'm coming here with open arms and open mind. And people are like, nah, you suck.
What if I told you that part of your problem is that you signed for a package of birth? Because think of it like this, right? If you were a woman making these mistakes, aren't people going to be a whole lot more likely to listen to you and to try to help you through it?
Yup.
So that's part
Working
part
on
of
it,
the
Dan.
issue
Working
is that
on it.
everybody assumes that because you're a male, sink or swim, bitch. Figure it out. If you don't figure it out, oh well. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And that's the sad reality of being a man. You help people not be attacked by their dogs. You perform a service to society. There are a lot of guys out there making average money, working stupid hard. We're talking about above average effort for average money, sometimes below average money. And whatever they get, oh, you got what you deserve. But then they say, oh, women, you should require this. And I require this, and I require that. And then they never have to say a goddamn thing about what they have to offer. So part of your problem is that you're a dude. And nobody wants to spend time investing in a dude. I know I don't want to do that because I don't want to fuck a dude. And if I can't get something out of this, like money, food, or sex, then I don't give a fuck. I don't care enough.
Yeah,
It's just what it is.
I that's at the end of the day, that's the best that it's not that I haven't thought of that. Maybe it's the blue pill still in me. Maybe it's the Disney rom-com still begging to come out. I'm sure there's a way. You're
an idealist. Yep.
I absolutely am an idealist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in every aspect of my life. And I
this is why me and you get along, man. And we find it one of the reasons why me and you get along, but we struggle to deal with other people, is that we hold ourselves to incredibly high standards, and then we make the mistake of holding other people to the same high standard. And that, I'm telling you, that leads to misery.
Okay, but then I agree with you. But then how does not holding, going back to the bigotry of low expectations? Now I am being arrogant, saying, "Oh, I'm better than you. I'm better than you.
We are better than you niggas."
and so then. So I get in this loop of like, okay, well, fuck what everybody.
He's a meme now. Damn, I'm pretty sure he'd rather. I think Myron wants to have that one back.
Yep, definitely. But yeah, so then it gets me in this loop of like, okay, I'm being too arrogant, and so I need to pull back. But then I get stepped all over. I don't get to make my points, and people think that this, that, or the other, and it ends up in still us trying to have a conversation and not going the way that I intend it to go. And so I'm like, okay, well, if I'm trying and I'm still getting the same results, then why don't I just be me? Come at me. I will listen to everything you have to say. I will engage with everything you have to say. If you can't handle that as a goddamn adult, then go.
Then the problem is yours. Yeah, then get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I'm with that.
The problem is that I do need some of those people,
right,
in order to make this work. So that's the and there's no easy answer, obviously. But the point is that there's no handbook, and whether it's looking at other YouTubers as a viewer, because we're both very big into YouTube as viewers as well. Whether it's looking at other creators that we watch and try to have an understanding that even though we are content creators, I got just over 1,000, you just got over 2,000 subs. Like, we're small time. We're small time. We're nothing in this ecosystem, and so it's like it's very easy to look too far ahead. And it's very hard to stay focused on the goal. And then when you're also managing not just the YouTube career itself, but also the personal dynamics, now it's not even that you're talking to people that are just friends, period. There's this online thing where, like, we're kind of colleagues, we're kind of friends, we're kind of this, we're kind of that, we get along, but like, it's very confusing. And it is, it is.
And basically, what the world is telling you is the answer to your question is figure it out, nigga.
Yep, I guess so.
And the thing is, again, if you keep trying, and this is one of the things about my life, I've had a lot of bad luck in life, but at every turn where I've had bad luck in life, somebody breaks the mold. Somebody breaks the trend of everybody being heartless and not caring. And they've got, sometimes they're not heartless and don't care, but they can't afford to care because all their care has to go into their own survival. There'll always be that one person that steps out of the shadows and says, you know what? I see you're struggling with this one particular thing. I'm going to attempt to help you.
Yes, my ears are a little hot, but that's because there's a whole thing around them and the air. The body heat. Science.
I don't know, man. You need to go find them reptiles worshiping owls somewhere.
I'm with it. Hey, hey. That's where I've landed. In the past few days when I've been kind of bugging about this and not bugging, but
I know what you mean.
Bugging. And I've kind of just needed some time to think. I needed some time to definitely talk to people like you and get a bounce off. Shout out to Tyler. Definitely also helped me out a lot. And it's just gotta, like you said, it is what it is. Like, just do the damn thing. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
And the channel is growing. Y'all are here. Y'all are enjoying it. I'm having fun. Let's just do that. Let's just do that. And I lost sight of that for probably a good couple weeks where I was focused on like, okay, this needs to work, and I need to, and it wasn't good, and so wasn't good. So Misanthropic Altruist says, let's dissect the linguistics to sort this out. What's the opposite of the bigotry of low expectations? The brilliance of having no expectations? You're all bars tonight, bro. Have no expectations. It's just the right amount of toxic.
It was, what reminded me of, I don't know if there's a Saturday Night Live or in Living Color, but they had this really messed up segment called Lowered Expectations. And it was like unattractive people trying to date, like do speed dating. Unattractive women and unattractive men. It was usually like older women and stuff like that. Lowered expectations. That shit was so fun. I mean, it was cringe. It was cringe funny.
Interesting.
I think some of us may need to lower our expectations for other people because that's what helped me.
Yeah.
I lowered my expectations. I know my base. It was Matt TV, right, Darshan? Thank you. I no longer expect people to argue with me in good faith. I like when I drive, I leave a lot of space between me and all the vehicles around me, because the way that I move, the way that I think when I drive is that everybody around me is going to make the wrong decision. And that's how I stay out of auto collisions. It just so happens that we're trying to merge and I'm in, this tiny car and this guy's in this lifted MAGA truck and he couldn't see me, right? Some of those situations you can't get out of, but you can lower the likelihood of you ending up with these kinds of problems if you approach everything with the expectation that the other person is either going to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, and you allow them the space. And then when they don't do the wrong thing, then you can close the gap, and then you can kind of try to make moves with that person in your vicinity. But the first thing is expect them to do some dumb shit until they prove otherwise. Keeps me sane.
Speaking of making moves, a perfect question to tie a bow on all of this. So what's the next move? The next move is just doing the next stream, doing the next video, making that next video a little bit better, making that next thumbnail a little bit better, and a little bit better, and a little bit better. That's the next move.
Yeah.
Timcast just started a Discord server for their members. So, and because my old Discord got deleted, I wasn't in, but now I'm in the members only server, and I think they messed up because you're supposed to pay $100 to get in a VIP tier, and I definitely didn't do that, but I was able to get into the chat room. So, shh, don't tell anybody. But there's a lot of cool people there, and I very specifically not like being like, hey guys, I have a channel too. Come check me out.
Mhm.
Like I'm just like trying to meet people and not forcing anything.
Right.
Because when people see that I can do this, when I can have conversations, I can have heated but polite debates, when I can do this, when I have information on this, and all of that stuff, then those are the people that you're gonna see right here. It's gonna happen. But the next move is to put myself in that position, be who I am, and stay within myself.
Right.
I lost
and
myself.
read the room while you do it.
Yeah.
Right.
That too.
For me, I would say the next move is to temper my expectations for my own success. I need to make sure that when I have the inspiration to get something done, that I follow through on it. I haven't thought so much about content creating in my life. Like,
yo,
and I'm
3
like,
a.m. I'll just be getting weird ass thoughts like, yo, you should do a video about this.
yeah.
Leave it alone.
You should have seen me and Cap were in the fucking lab for 6 hours until 3 o'clock in the morning. And we're thinking, oh, we just got another idea. We need to record that right now. And so for myself, I want to continue to expand the conversation. I want to have more fun conversations, not just hard hitting stuff, but I want to do like more nonsense type of stuff. I want to make sure that I am making videos because that's the streaming side. On the video side, I want to make stuff that really speaks to me and don't put it off until later. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know when the algorithm is going to do its thing, but I know that I need to be in position to be lucky. And that means that I need to be sitting right here in this chair with this headset on my ear and this mic above my camera, hitting the record button, even when I don't want to.
Yep.
Takes a lot of discipline. When I know that a lot of people don't really give a fuck what I have to say. That's
why it's really surprising to me that I've made it even this far, because I have no discipline with anything. And so that shows me that I really do care about not just making money from this, but the actual mission that I'm on. I know it's a lofty pie in the sky idea, but let me tell you something, guys. I'm not fucking around when I say that my goal is to fix public discourse in this country. I'm not fucking around. I am dead ass serious. I don't know how long it's going to take, and I'm definitely not going to be able to do it alone. But that is what we are doing.
Use that word. You're from New Jersey.
Wait, what word? What?
My nigga just said dead ass.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's dead ass, bro.
You're on the other side of the river, so that's not your word.
What you mean?
You're appropriating New York culture.
Oh, get out of here! Get out of here! Miss Anthropic saying, "I must be crazy." Y'all describing the uphill battle that content creation can be, and somehow it inspires me to take that burden on. I want to go nuts too.
He should make a channel.
Yeah, man. You have great takes. You have great takes.
Just don't take my subs. I want them over on my channel when I'm live.
Yeah,
they want to hear from you, man. They
you gotta learn all on your own. No, yeah, I think anybody who has the desire to get a message out there. The fact is that a lot of people start YouTube channels because they want clout, because they want money, because they want this, because they want that, and when they see this uphill battle, when they see, oh, this is what it is.
The YouTube channel graveyard.
Yeah, because you and I were talking about this yesterday. That even I don't know that I've ever consciously subscribed to a channel that was like 5,000 subscribers or less. Not because I was like, oh, screw that. Just because the algorithm doesn't show you that stuff
Yep.
as easily unless it's right up your alley. You're not as likely to see it. And then, I also thank you, Trey. Thank
Oh,
you.
do you know the battle that they're having, New York and New Jersey, the governments, over some fucking coalition that they made to try to clamp down on organized crime at the shipping docks on the river?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what that reminded me of.
That's some East Coast shit right there. But yeah, I mean it's just that everything happens in stages, and everything worth having takes time.
It's crazy. You said the same thing that we said when me and Cap created TSP. We're going to fix public discourse in this country by hook or by crook. That's really crazy that you said that.
It's got to happen.
That is a big part of our mission statement. And also, we want a platform that understands that we are men that respect.
That's a whole thing.
The contributions of men in society, and we want to attract women who respect the contribution of men in society, because I don't want to see more MG Toe. I don't want to see more MGTOW. I want guys to see examples of women that actually respect men being men.
Absolutely. And I mean, we know, like you said, there's almost it's almost improbable that you are wrong about the fact that the number of women out there who are at least average in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be at least slightly above 50%, if not an even 50.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it is a bare 50.0000, that's still a lot of people. But the way that society works is those people get hidden because the people who are chasing clout get the clout.
Exactly.
And that is why we need to change Discord. Not so I could find a wife. I mean, that would be a very good byproduct. But it's bigger than me. It's bigger than us. It's about the and I mean, I don't even really think of it this way, but because America is America, then we it has to work out. Like if this falls, nobody's gonna have a good time. You're gonna have a bad time. That's what I need to add to this.
I wanted to say another thing on the small goals, because I think that helps a lot. What is, and I think you kind of touched on this, and this is what gave me this thought. What are your goals on YouTube? For you guys out there, what are your goals on YouTube? Let me tell you guys something. This might sound pretty strange, but there are little things that I experience as a content creator that give me a huge boost. Of course, doubling my channel subscriber base in 7 days, that's all cool. But I like to look at the little things. I'm going to tell you about this one little thing. We had someone named Cass leave a comment on a live stream. I'm talking about a TSP number 38, which my guy Lutch was on the panel. And I was explaining how I made it clear on my Bumble profile that I'm only interested in biological females. And when I said not interested in biological males, they threatened to kick me off the platform. And then more than 11 months later, almost exactly a year later, somebody said, hey, I don't even expect you to see this comment, but I'm going to comment on this almost a year later. And I was like, nope, I saw you. Turns out it's a trans woman, and had a back and forth about our perception of what I went through. Mm-hmm. And then I said, well, I am a huge fan of how you've conducted yourself in public discourse.
Can I predict how she took this?
Go ahead.
I don't want to take your story, but
no,
I'm going to guess, based on how you're teeing this up, is that we respect that she wants to be she. took it in stride. I was like, yeah, I'm not with all of that, forcing anybody to do anything. This whole thing is supposed to be about do you. Was it along those lines?
You're on the right track. You're on the right track.
That's specifically why whenever I talk about trans issues, I make a very conscious and deliberate point
between trans people and their allies.
Yes, we're not. I mean, yeah, it's there are people who are living their lives and they happen to be trans. Whether or not I agree with whether that is this, that, or the other, that's whatever. Then there's people who are pushing the trans agenda. Those are two different groups of people.
And so what I did was I gave the person the option of either appearing on the show as a guest or giving us the permission to react to the comments made. And so I was going to do a separate live stream, but then Cap wasn't feeling good, and I had to do.
Oh, sorry, wait, Dan. If you're, I did it again. Sorry, Dan. If you are leaving, thank you so much for being here, and thank you again
for Morty's
Treats and for sponsoring the stream. Let's give a shout out to Dan Jensen in the chat. Thank you so much. You have a good one, brother.
I'm sorry. So what I did was, I knew he wasn't going nowhere.
Oh, okay. Everybody's like, all right, later, dude.
He misspelled later when he wrote 11 months later.
Oh, that's I was like, what the okay. We're all on the same page.
I could have saved you from that, but I've been told that I interrupt people too much when they talk, so I'm working on it. So it turns out that I went to go do the live stream solo for when we did our thank you for 2,000 subscribers special, and Cass showed up. And because Cass showed up kind of in the second half, I called an audible because I was going to react to some of the stupid comments on Cap's video that he made about Sneeko. That got all of them goddamn views, 255,000 views plus and counting. And I just went and I reviewed the comments and I got a lot of feedback, and they joined the Discord. Cass joined the Discord, right?
Shout out to Cass.
And Cass is everything to this point. Cass is everything that I've ever said about any trans person I've ever met. And that is, the people who are actually trans are just trying to live their goddamn life. It's the fucking allies who just infuriate people who are just saying, hey, can I just have the right to not endorse? Can I just have that right? No, because you're hateful. Arg, 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 arg. And it's just like, if you don't sit down and suck the fattest part of a dick, like, imagine being a trans person and you hear an ally go off and you're like, oh, I'm about to get beat up in the street again because this dumb motherfucker right here.
Full circle. That is the exact same sentiment as why we hate the frauds in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
The exact same sentiment. Because
look what happened to fucking Dave Chappelle. Look what happened to Dave Chappelle. He put out a fucking special. I know I just got triggered. Dave Chappelle put out a special about a person who came, listened to the trans jokes, was trans. The person was trans. And they struck up a friendship, and he's talking about it. And then he was like, yeah, I talked to him backstage. I had we became friends, whatever. And then after the special happened, we heard that the trans person he was talking about, I think the person's name was Daphne, self-terminated. And of course, I'm thinking it had to be something that had to do with the orientation, right? Mm-hmm. Turns out, because Daphne stood up for him because of what he actually did. Daphne got crazy hate from the trans activists and then off themselves.
And she was all she was doing was sharing her experience, and her experience was a positive one with Dave Chappelle. How dare you?
How dare you?
What? I mean, that is, I mean, that's a whole other conversation. I don't even really want to go down that road because it you know how I feel about that. But it's public discourse. We need to be able to discuss these things in a way that is real, that actually gets to the issues that may offend some people, so that we can weed out those who are just sitting on the sidelines waiting for the right answer of the debate, and to say, oh, okay, that's the right side. Okay, I'm for that. There's a lot of people like that. Fine. Be that way. Do you. But in the meantime, I'm going to be up here telling you about genderqueer, telling you about D's Big Nuts, telling you about the Bluest Eye. What's the other one? Dan and Jeff, or I don't remember the other one. There was another one that came. All these books that are being put in front of your children that are explicit and pornographic. But it somehow has to do with people who have gender dysphoria.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm transphobic for being like, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense.
And the thing is, for me, one of the little victories
there you
is
go, Dan.
getting
just the tip. That's the other one.
Is getting someone who is of that community to subscribe and to show up for live streams and to listen. And I was like, Cass, I need to let you know this.
We gonna tokenize the shit out of you.
Oh, I made that joke. I made that joke. But I was like, listen, we treat everybody the same here. We shit on everybody on this platform. Get ready, because we gonna roast your ass too. And it's not out of hate. This is just what we do to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this is how you show real equality.
Absolutely.
And to me, this is such a massive victory. It's just one person that left a comment 11 months ago. But I'm not looking to get 40,000 subscribers by next Friday.
I mean,
these are the little victories that excite me as far as being able to expand the conversation. Because the thing is, Cass understands that I'm not for the trans community. Not everyone has to be. The only thing I have to do is one thing: not interfere with your life.
Exactly.
And I'm going to go a little bit of a step further. Since you tried to level with me, now I'm going to respect you. You, the individual, because you earned it. Not because of your orientation, but because you leveled with me, treated me as a human being. Now I'm going to treat you as a human being.
Exactly. Yep. And that's what I told, the especially like me, this whole conversation has been about how I can be abrasive and this, that, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in the Discord server, yeah. And so, in the Discord server, I'm even more so because I don't have to worry about YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry about terms of service or any of that. So when, we got a number of women who would join, I felt like, and it was very small. So it would be like me, one other person, and a new girl that would come in. I'd be like, hey, I'm just letting you know, like, we get real in here.
Mm-hmm.
I can totally respect if that's not cool with you, but you're not getting,
any
you're
free
not getting
passes?
treated. Yeah, no, you're not getting treated like a girl. You are a person here. This is what this is how this works. And we got Seabass. I don't know how familiar you are with Christ brings a sword. Sometimes it's in the chat, just like.
No, I just realized that what Seabass actually meant.
Yeah, Christ brings a sword.
Like, it
the
took
guy
me
who
a
comes
while
in
to figure that out.
he just kind of rants about religious stuff, and he says, "Oh, we're all going to hell."
No, I've seen him.
And I welcome him. I welcome him into the Discord.
Yeah.
He comes in, and I
hated that other guy that Darshan had on. Oh man,
What?
Henry. Oh, Henry. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He just
it's the arrogance for me, man. I can't get around it. Like, I remember I saw you debating that motherfucker. I'm like, yo, I'm out. I've reached my limit. I can't listen to this nigga talk no more.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just a matter of, good way to practice patience. He is a human being. He is a human being, and he might be weird, and he might believe things that I think are absolutely ridiculous.
This comment right here, man.
Yep.
This comment right here.
But here's the other thing about that. He knows that we feel this way about him because we get real. We get real. I'm not putting on kid gloves. Not in Discord. Not in my Discord. If we're out in, at a bar and we just strike up a conversation, that's a whole other story.
Does he argue in good faith? That's the question.
I mean, in his terms, yes, he does argue in good faith. He's just everything is so direct in his dogma that he really does believe it. So he does argue in good faith, but it doesn't make any sense because everything comes back to, well, Jesus said it and now you're going to hell. But the point is, if he is somebody that can thrive there, and maybe even by just ignoring all the BS that he posts, and when he actually does post something real or normal, and we address that and he realized, wait, this is actually a place where I can get attention in a positive way. Maybe he'll want to change. Unlike Dan Jensen, please never, ever, ever, ever change. Thank you so much. Oh, Marty knows. His head perked up. Oh, come on, get it. Yeah, good boy, good boy. There you go. Good boy. Thank you again, Dan. Sponsored the stream already and still. There you go.
It's time.
That's 79. I'm not good at math. Okay. Boom. Thank you so much, brother. I really, 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 really appreciate that. Okay, we got one more comment in here, and then we are gonna head over to Discord. So Misanthropic Altruist says that man is also clearly in a tremendous amount of pain. We can't save him, we can't save him, but tolerating him may help a tiny bit. And if he ends up being a troll, which I tested him. I was on some 3D chess stuff, and I was like, are you here to just break down? Because he was talking about how he got banned from everything. And I was like, are you trying to get banned, or are you just like getting banned in the process?
Right.
And I wanted to see what he would say. And he's like, what do you mean? People don't like getting, and he got defensive, which means to me that he's not trying to get banned. He genuinely believes he's telling the truth and he's being persecuted for telling the truth. And hey, I can think your ideas are stupid as all hell, but I am not a free speech absolutist, but in the spirit of what free speech is meant to be. You have, when you come to my Discord community, you can block or mute anybody you like, and you never have to know that they exist. But unless you're doing either illegal shit or if I have to pull rank, I will. But I really, really, really don't want to. I want it to be, a legitimate place for free speech. And yes, Dan, this is the Instinct Raw Adult or Senior brand or whatever. So it's helping with his gut biome and everything. That is what you are doing for him. So
yeah, this was good, man.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I used to be completely intolerable, people. I used to be completely intolerable, but because I think I like Misanthropic. I always liked them because I liked his name. When I saw him in the chat. But that second part, let me tell you, I used to be insufferable.
What about
But some people taking an interest in me, even when they didn't have to, that changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, Mrs. Evil accepted me in a state of mind and in economic despair that no woman, especially a woman that looks as good as her, should ever entertain. And that went a long way in changing my life, especially since I was so angry because I was engaged to this one other chick, and then she was cheating while we were engaged, and then I was homeless and all this stuff, and I was so angry for more than 2 years, and I was really struggling. I was like a half a step away from homelessness, and she still showed that. That she valued some part of me is almost exactly 17 years later. We're actually exactly 1 week away from a 17th anniversary. So
can we get a happy anniversary in the chat, please?
You know,
That's legit. That's some serious stuff. And that's
just
something
takes
I look
one
forward
person when you're intolerable to try to tolerate you, to see the light sometimes, to become more tolerable.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I don't, I pulled back from saying, okay, I'm MGTOW and I give up and I don't want to, anything. No, I do. I believe that. I now better understand the landscape, and I'm acting accordingly now. And so again, going back to Darshan's question about what's the next move, the next move is to make sure that I am staying on course to make the next move. I'm already doing it right now. All I got to do is make sure that I do it again, and then again, and then again, and then again. And in the process, I will get better. I will get bigger. I will, I mean, I'm not going to get any taller, but I'll get bigger eventually when I can afford a personal trainer. Then I'll get a bigger channel, and I'll have better, a better rotation of people, and all of this stuff, guys.
That's a Kohi. That's a Kohi lyric. And I'll be bigger.
Good eye. No. Beauty. Yeah, but that
was New Jersey bound. I was.
Well, brother, I want to thank you so much for taking the time here. This was a conversation that I definitely needed. I needed to hear a lot of things that you said, whether it was here or in private. I appreciate that, and I know that there's a lot of other people who would not have the grace that you did, and I don't necessarily think that.
Well, people have the grace with me. I would be a fucking asshole if I didn't give it to other people.
And I don't necessarily believe that of all the people, just in general that have a negative opinion of me have given me a fair chance, but they don't need to. And as long as I have people like you and people like you guys in the chat who are willing to hear me out, I'm going to be okay. There was a long time, guys. There was a long time where I wasn't okay. And there was a long time after that where I didn't know if I was going to stay okay. And it wasn't until all of this that I finally started to feel like, oh, maybe I'm going to be okay. And I had a momentary lapse. I'm human.
Yep.
Taking the L.
As is everybody else.
And I'm moving on.
It's kind of funny you say that, man. The most imperfect mofos are willing to drop you on your neck when you make a mistake.
Yep.
That's why I don't treat people that way, because I don't want to be treated that way. And I don't treat people that way knowing that people will still treat me that way.
That's the struggle. Yep. But all right, so why don't you, before we close out, let the people know where they can find you, what are your channels, all of that good stuff. The floor, sir, is yours.
First of all, I want to thank Let's for having me on, and you guys, the viewers, in the comments. The comments have been very, very live, and I have a lot of respect for a lot of the ideas that you guys have espoused, except for one guy who tried to insinuate that I would give some sort of court, some sort of audience to another man in a romantic connotation, context. And to that, I say this. Well, to the no. So, I just want to make that very clear that that's not going to work. Okay, moving right along. If you want to watch me play Horizon Forbidden West, a strong independent woman who don't need no man, you can find me youtube.com/@dr_evil_genius. I also do driving live streams there. Sometimes I do like a stream of consciousness thing on that channel, where I just talk about life and what's going on in life, and talk about concepts that people in the chat want to talk about. That all happens there with the Genius Take the Wheel series that I have on there. It's over 70 episodes, I think, for that. A little bit of Call of Duty gameplay there too. I may start doing commentaries and videos strictly on that channel. But then you can also find me on TSP. That would be www.youtube.com/@TALKINSHIT. We have a lot of discussions. Me and my co-hosts come from two very different walks of life, two very different people that are coming together to have discussions on things that we may or may not agree with, and open up the possibility that people who are diametrically opposed ideologically can still come together and have fruitful and peaceful conversations. And in addition to that, we want to welcome both men and women who respect men and the contributions that men make to our society, because without men, we would not have indoor plumbing or electricity or paved roads or iPhones or any of the accoutrement that we have become accustomed to in this luxurious 21st century.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And Darshan, thank you. So I'm glad you guys are staying progressive and busy. We are trying, brother. We are trying. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. So here's what am I gonna do? So I'm gonna drop Dr. Evil. I'm gonna close out the show. Me and him are gonna chat a little bit, and then I will be right over in the panel and Discord. Again, the link has been dropped. The link is in the description. It is free. It is free to join. So I will see you guys over there. Dr. Evil Genius, thank you again so much. Your opinion is very, very, very highly appreciated, and I thought this was a really good conversation.
I agree.
Thank you very, very much. You have a good one, brother.
All right.
Peace. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot there, and I had to eat some humble pie. I mean, I don't really want to get into it too much, but yeah, there's just sometimes you got to realize you don't know everything. Sometimes you mess up and you just got to take the L. And that doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It doesn't mean you need to go. It doesn't mean we're human. We're human. That is it. We are human and we are trying to do better. As long as we all try to do better, we will do better. It's that simple. It's that simple. And, obviously it gets more complicated, the more specific you get, but hey, that's what we go over to Discord to talk this stuff out. We don't have time limits. We don't have YouTube overlords censoring our speech or anything. So please head over to the Discord, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this or anything else. And it's not just the panels that we do after the show. 24/7, that is going. You'll see me posting in there all day. While I'm looking for stuff to react to for the daily videos that I drop. I mean, not today because I ran out of time, but other than today, daily videos between 10 and 20 minutes. Check those out as well. But I also, some of them, they're, not great for reaction, but I want to show them to you guys. Like, that's the kind of stuff, watch parties. I have a new contest that I'm going to kick off in April. There's a lot of stuff happening, guys. So please, please, please come on over and let's do this thing. I want to thank you guys again so much for partying with me. Once again, guys, I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.